Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, says academic studies have proven the effectiveness of states of emergency.
Results were compelling. An average across each police division, there was a 62% reduction in violent crimes following the implementation of the SOE.
3 PNP candidates have asked the Supreme Court to strike down the decision by the St. James Municipal Corporation to remove their campaign posters.
Amid backlash, the Education Minister says there's no rush to pass the Jamaica Teaching Council bill.
Jamaicans are being warned about the prevalence of counterfeit medication in the market.
Blood found in cell where savage beating occurred, confirmed to be that of Mario Dean.
In news from the rest of the world, Kamla Persad-Bissessar sworn in as new Trinidadian Prime Minister.
Trump has nominated his national security advisor to be the ambassador to the United Nations.
In headline sports, former Reggae Girls coach sacked by Chicago Stars FC.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, Chairman of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica, Dr. Ernestine Watson, is raising an alarm over the prevalence of counterfeit medication on the Jamaican market.
If you do go on Instagram, there are sites advertising drugs that are prescription drugs. And when you try to make contact, you can get it.
We'll hear from the Registrar of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica, Dr. Radcliffe Goldburn, and President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica, Dr. Tyrone Smith.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to the prosecution of a rape case after 45 years? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, Children's Rights Lobby Group Hear the Children's Cries, calling on the government to fund a 10-year project to disrupt poor parenting practices. Hear the Children's Cries Director Nigel Cooper will join us.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, May 1, 2025.
This hour is brought to you by the new KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger-licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says an empirical study by the Florida International University has shown the effectiveness of states of public emergency in combating crime. Dr. Chang used his sectoral debate presentation on Tuesday to defend the government's use of the emergency measure in the ongoing crime fight. He says other nations have recognized the usefulness of the tool in reaping similar success. Mahiri Stewart reports.
The Andrew Holness-led administration has imposed more states of public emergency than all previous governments combined. The Prime Minister and his cabinet continue to insist on its utilization as a crime-fighting tool despite the protestations of the opposition. As part of his sectoral debate presentation, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says empirical data backs up the government's position.
A recent empirical study conducted by econometric and public policy scholars at the Florida International University and in collaboration with other young Jamaican professionals across the U.S. employed a range of causal models to assess the effectiveness of the states of public emergency in Jamaica over both short and long term. Results were compelling. On average, across each police division, there was a 62% reduction in violent crimes following the implementation of the SOE compared to the same period prior to in the same divisions. 62% reduction. In these types of evaluation, Madam Speaker, that provide us with reliable and robust causal evidence that Jamaica's use of SOEs has had a significant and measurable impact on violent crime levels as a deterrence across the years they have been used.
Dr. Chang says the SOEs have proven effective not only in Jamaica, but across the Latin American and Caribbean regions.
Madam Speaker, Jamaica is not alone in recognizing the necessity for such measures. Over the last 2 years, several Latin American and Caribbean countries, including Trinidad and Tobago, Belize, Ecuador, Honduras, and Peru, have implemented state of public emergencies to swiftly curb spiraling homicide rates, save lives, and improve public order. According to a report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, no fewer than 30 state of public emergencies have been declared across the Latin American Caribbean region between April 2020 and April 2023.
The opposition has lambasted the government for its use, going so far as to take the government to court over its legitimacy as a crime-fighting tool. Similarly, they've accused the government of utilizing the emergency powers as a means of violating the rights of Jamaicans. As the country enjoys a historic 37% reduction in murders so far in 2025 compared to the year prior, Dr. Chang says the Holness administration is not relying solely on SOEs as its only crime-fighting tool.
We have never suggested the state of public emergency as a silver bullet for a crime problem. They are but one set of tools in a broader, multi-pronged strategy designed to restore law and order. That is why we have persisted in implementing a comprehensive policy for national security. This includes the expansion and the development of the police force.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Dr. Chang says the administration will be examining at a later time the procurement and use of specially designed cameras for use in security operations. Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice JFJ made fresh calls during a protest this week for members of the security forces to wear body cameras during planned operations. According to JFJ, there's a need for greater accountability in circumstances where there's an alleged confrontation resulting in a fatal shooting.
It will be examined. Can I say to be specific? They are costly and requires proper research and ensure relevance at the point in time. When you get into the kind of numbers of homicides we get, if we keep going down and all the programs are working, you may find that really we work our way out of it. But it certainly will be examined. I said they have to be specially ordered and designed. Basic things, when a policeman is in operation, you can't really be trying to turn on and off cameras. So the battery life has to be longer, so it's especially designed.
Dr. Chang has argued that body cameras are of little value during combat. He says the cameras needed for combat will have to be installed on helmets instead of attached to the uniforms of police personnel. According to the National Security Minister, those cameras used in combat are not readily available and can be expensive. He says body-worn cameras now being procured are for police personnel involved in day-to-day public order.
We have ordered body-worn cameras that will go to the individuals in the geographic divisions, individuals, the PSTB, the complete state. We require a couple of thousand cameras for patrolling. And then we have to examine the availability of such cameras because they're not available off the shelf, and examine the costs and their relevance at the point in time.
Dr. Horace Chang, the National Security Minister. The minister says the body-worn cameras now being procured should get into the hands of the police during this financial year.
3 prospective candidates for the People's National Party in St. James are seeking judicial review of the St. James Municipal Corporation's decision to remove their campaign signs across the parish. Dr. Andre Houghton, Senator Janice Allen, and Alan Bernard have asked the Supreme Court to step into the growing political dispute. The prospective candidates say they are being victimized by the JLP-led local authority. Shaloy Smichael has more in this report.
Dr. Andre Houghton is seeking to unseat Marlene Malahoo Fort in West Central St. James. Janice Allen is mounting a challenge to Heroy Clark in Central St. James, and Alan Bernard is seeking to take down JLP veteran Dr. Horace Chang in Northwest St. James. The PNP lost all 3 seats by more than 1,000 votes in the last general election. The prospective candidates have complained to the Supreme Court that at least 15 of their campaign posters have been removed by the local authority without communicating with them. The comrades are alleging a motion passed by the municipal council prohibiting political posters is inconsistent with existing regulations. They say that the fact that more than 54 months have passed since the government took office, the country is effectively in an election period, and therefore their posters are lawfully erected. The comrades say to find otherwise would be an absurdity. They are asking the Supreme Court to find that the St. James Municipal Corporation's decision to remove the posters were unlawful, irrational, unreasonable, and a breach of natural justice and procedural fairness. They also want the court to direct the local authority to return and restore the posters and signs which have been removed. The trio are being represented by attorney-at-law Maurice McCurdy. The JLP's Richard Vernon is mayor of St. James and the chairman of the municipal corporation. When our news center contacted him on Thursday, he declined to comment on the court action, noting he was focused on responding to a letter from the political ombudsman regarding the issue. ECJ Chairman Earl Jarrett has written to Vernon requesting a response after the PNP filed a complaint about the removal of the signs. The mayor has been asked to respond by May 6. The ECJ is now performing the functions of the ombudsman. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the opposition PNP says it's standing by the decision of its 3 prospective candidates in St. James to petition the Supreme Court regarding the removal of campaign posters across the parish. The posters were removed by the St. James Municipal Corporation on the orders of Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon. In a release on Thursday, the PNP, in supporting the candidates, described the move as a blatant and unlawful act by the corporation. According to the opposition, political competition must be fair and untainted by partisan interference from public institutions. It's further calling on the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, the ECJ, as well as other oversight bodies to take note of what it describes as the troubling developments during the campaign season.
Education Minister Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon says there's no rush at this time to pass the Jamaica Teaching Council bill into law. She's reacting to concerns raised by the opposition PNP and education stakeholders over key provisions in the legislation.
There is no rush, and I don't think any of this is a rush. You know, we'd reached the end of the Joint Select Committee process. The drafters had reached the end of their drafting process, and so the next step you do usually is you table the bill and then debate it. And the bill does say that the regime comes into place at a date appointed by the minister. So the minister would have to appoint the date for it to come into effect. And then in addition to that, the bill also says that teachers are grandfathered in for 2 years. So the registration regime does not fully take effect for 2 years. So there's nothing around this bill that would be seen as even rushing. Even when we're ready to implement, there are so many safeguards to keep it on a slow process. And anything that's big like this, I actually am of the opinion that you go slower with implementing than trying to do it very fast.
The Jamaica Teaching Council bill has gone through various parts of the legislative process for over 2 decades. It's faced shelving and redrafting on numerous occasions due to concerns raised primarily by teachers and other key stakeholders. It was passed last week in the Senate. It's awaiting approval in the House. In addition to the opposition, the Jamaica Teachers Association and the Jamaica Association of Principals and Vice Principals have called for more time before its implementation. The Education Minister is insisting that her administration will get the legislation over the finish line. But she agrees that based on her discussions with educators, many teachers remain uninformed about the provisions in the bill.
It's the political season, right? And so, you know, sometimes things get amplified in that kind of an environment. But just to note, we did a lot of consultation. This is one of the most consultative bills. So today, I was in Mandeville and I went to 4 schools and I went to the staff room in each of the schools and I sat with the teachers and they could ask me any question. And it was clear that for a lot of them, they didn't understand. You know, so for us as government, we work with the union. But in this case, it seems as if, you know, some of the teachers weren't really kept abreast of what was happening with the bill. And so we have to do some more work in terms of explaining things to the teachers.
Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, Minister of Education and Youth. She was speaking with Nationwide News on Thursday.
Meanwhile, the minister says the majority of the amendments made to the bill are grammatical and editorial corrections. The minister says very little in the bill has changed since its review by a joint select committee of parliament in which the opposition played a part.
The government printing office has to type up everything, right? And so if you look at the list of amendments, it's like the E is missing off of the. Some things may be like, you repeat counsel twice in the same sentence, so delete counsel. So some of them was editorial issues, or you had not cross-referenced properly an area. There were only maybe a couple of them that would have been seen as like really substantive, but nothing out of the ordinary. And remember, that would have been provided when I opened the debate, and the opposition had asked for 2 more weeks to be able to review the bill and the amendments, which we had agreed to. And so it wasn't like, the amendments were just sprung on anyone. It was, through the regular legislative process.
And the minister also addressed concerns regarding the registration of teachers and the associated costs while speaking with teachers in Westmoreland. She says the teachers already in the system will be considered registered and as a result not face a registration cost.
So in the regulations, that's where you would say these are the fees that a teacher would pay, these are the processes we would go through. You'd finalize that. And then the law says very clearly in it, it says that all things in the regulations have to be agreed with the stakeholders, which means agreed with the teachers. So there's another step we don't finish. There's a lot more to go. So after this, we will then have a meeting, lots of meetings, where we talk through what does it look like. Now I've already said I want the fee to be 0. Other people can come and say whatever, but the fee will initially be 0.
Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, the Minister of Education. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Celebrate 26 years with IQ Optical. Enjoy 26% off your prescription eyewear and sunglasses this month only. Book your appointment or take your prescription to IQ Optical in New Kingston, Manor Park, or Drexel. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 17 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 in Montego Bay.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here ya,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deepfake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Continuing the news, an alarm is being raised about the prevalence of counterfeit medication being sold in Jamaica. The disclosure was made by Chairperson of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica, Dr. Ernestine Watson. She was speaking on Cliff Hughes Online on Wednesday. Abigail Bartley reports.
According to Dr. Watson, unassuming Jamaicans are increasingly becoming victims of fake medication. She noted that some victims were seeking treatment for illnesses such as cancer, heart conditions, and blood clots. But those efforts proved futile once it emerged that the drugs being used for treatment were fake. Dr. Watson says prescription drugs are also being sold on social media platforms.
There is evidence of drugs in Jamaica that we know are not legally imported. If you do go on Instagram, there are sites advertising drugs that are prescription drugs. And when you try to make contact, you can get it. However, they seem to be able to know when it's the law coming for them because the sites are either removed.
Dr. Watson says lengthy delays in regulating medication contribute to the prevalence of counterfeit drugs. She says despite meeting with Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, the delays persist.
Last year, we held a stakeholders meeting, and one of the key complaints is that the length of time it takes for a product to be registered, whether it is a finished product or it is a product to be used in manufacturing, must go through the Ministry of Health Standards and Regulations. It's very long. And this is something that we have had meetings with the minister, and the minister has recognized, and they have taken steps to help to move the system along. But so far, the complaints are still coming in that it is taking much too long to have a product registered. Some persons say they are waiting 5 years or more.
Dr. Watson says Jamaicans who are aware of counterfeit medication being sold must report it to the police.
It lies with the standards and regulation that one, to ensure that the reason for the increase is eliminated, and two, for us to be very vigilant and report wherever we see these things happening to the authorities. It can be reported to the police, it can be reported to the council. I was asked the question, what about those people who are just trying to earn a living? They have to send their children to school. In trying to earn a living, you are putting the lives of hundreds, if not thousands of persons at risk.
Abigail Bartley for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
In Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla Persad-Bissessar was sworn in as the country's 9th Prime Minister. Persad-Bissessar was sworn in this afternoon at President's House. The UNC, her party, won 26 of the 41 constituencies, while the People's National Movement, the PNM, held on to 13 seats. Today's swearing-in ceremony comes a day after the UNC's 36th anniversary. The rest of the cabinet is expected to be sworn in at a later date. Persad-Bissessar became the Twin Islands' first female prime minister after winning the 2010 general election. The UNC will now share the government in parliament with the Tobago People's Party, the TPP. The PNM will enter opposition, making it 3 parties in the parliament.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he's nominating his national security advisor Mike Waltz to serve as United Nations ambassador. The move is considered a major shakeup of the Trump national security team. Trump says Secretary of State Marco Rubio will serve simultaneously as acting national security advisor while maintaining his position as at the State Department. He announced the moves shortly after news broke that Waltz was leaving the administration. Waltz created the Signal group chat, to which a journalist was inadvertently added, where high-ranking officials planned military strikes in Yemen. Trump's team downplayed the security risks and said no classified material was shared in the chat. Trump's decision to move Waltz to the UN comes weeks after he pulled his pick for the job, Republican Elise Stefanik of New York, from consideration.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, says academic studies have proven the effectiveness of states of emergency.
3 PNP candidates have asked the Supreme Court to strike down the decision by the St. James Municipal Corporation to remove their campaign posters.
Amid backlash, the Education Minister says there's no rush to pass the Jamaica Teaching Council bill.
Jamaicans are being warned about the prevalence of counterfeit medication in the market.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Attention all wings lovers. KFC Saucy Wings with 2 new flavors. Saucy Wings. Mango habanero and buffalo. Spicy. KFC we have Saucy Wings. Delicious. Spicy the best. So a new KFC Saucy Wings crunch the rest. Nobody does wings like KFC. New Saucy Wings is for me.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Delicious, hot, and spicy wings tossed in savory mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger-licking good.
Outperform, outlast. With top performance. Easy, jackhammer. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. With 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Good afternoon. With your sports report, I am Alric Swiby. We kick things off with some footballers. The Chicago Stars FC fired second-year head coach Lauren Donaldson after 1 win and 5 defeats since the start of the season. Masakai Hami, the first assistant coach, was named interim head coach on Wednesday. Hemi is the Stars' 5th head coach, acting or permanent, since November 22, 2021. The Stars hired Donaldson in December 2023, hoping the former head coach of the Jamaica women's national team could turn around the franchise that has not won a playoff game since 2021. The team made the playoff last season despite an average record after finishing in last place in the National Women's Soccer League in 2023 and lost its opener to number 1 seed Orlando Pride. The Stars are headed in the opposite direction of the playoffs this season, standing in last place with just 3 points. In their 6 games, the Stars have scored 3 goals and given up 14. Their only victory came April 13 when they defeated Bay FC 2-1. The team will play their first game without Donaldson on the road against Gotham FC on Sunday. Manchester United took a huge step towards reaching the Europa League final with a 3-0 win in the first leg against 10-man Atletico Bilbao, ensuring they take a big advantage into the semi-final second leg at Old Trafford.
It's a great cross, it's a great chance, it's 1-0 to Manchester United, and it's finished off quite brilliantly by Casemiro. But what about the twisting and turning from Harry Maguire? Can Bruno Fernandes keep his cool? Perfect penalty from Bruno Fernandes, who said, calm yourselves down everybody, I was never going to miss that. And Manchester United lead 2-0. Trying to do something, Bruno Fernandes is in, this is number 3, Bruno Fernandes, 2 on the night for the Manchester United captain, 3 goals before half-time. The Athletic Bilbao supporters stunned.
And Tottenham also has a 1 foot in the final with a deserved 3-1 first leg win over Norwegian side Bodø Glimt.
Porro with a cross is a decent one. Richarlison, Johnson is there, and Tottenham lead. Less than 40 seconds on the clock, and Tottenham's top scorer is tearing it up already. Pedro Porro looking for Maddison, finding Maddison, lovely touch, and it's there. Dominic Solanke against Nikita Hiking for a 3-0 lead for Spurs. Solanke, victory, he wins that duel and puts Tottenham in pole position. Here's Saltness into the box. Saltness, exactly what Tottenham didn't want, and the man who got 2 goals against Lazio has one against Tottenham Hotspur, which might be priceless.
Now to cricket, as Jamaica women are set to face Windward Islands in their opening match of the Cricket West Indies T20 Blaze at Arnesville this evening at 6. Meanwhile, Guyana women beat the Leeward Islands by 7 wickets in their match. Batting first, the Leewards made 88 for 7 off their 20 overs. Captain Amanda Edwards made 28 and Quiana Joseph 25. Shanita Gridmond took 3 wickets and Asmini Munisar took 2. In reply, Guyana raced to victory inside 19 overs. Liliana Grimond made 33 and captain Shermaine Campbell 23. Final scores: Leeward Islands 88 for 7, Guyana 89 for 3. And Trinidad and Tobago women beat Barbados by 36 runs, chasing 115 to win. Barbados were bowled out for 78 with Kishona Knight top scoring with 24. Steffi Sue Grimm finished with 3 for 15 while Leanne Kirby took 2 wickets. Earlier, Trinidad and Tobago made 114 for 7 off their 20 overs. Rachel Vincent made 50 and Brittany Cooper 42. Kayla Elliott bagged 5 wickets. And finally, in athletics, coach of Nagahead Primary Sean Green says they are ready to defend their in-sport All-Island Primary School Athletics Championships titles. Over 6,000 athletes from more than 130 schools are expected to participate in the event from May 5 to 31. The championships, which unfold in 4 stages. First, the Central Championships at GC Foster College, starting on May 5. Nagahead are the Central and National champions.
The team basically prepared for the last few months, so the team is in good stead because we don't see all the teams, so we're not going to get complacent. But the team is a well-rounded team. In all teams, we're not going to strong in all areas, but I think we can give a good account of ourselves and trying to hold on to the Central Championship. And then when we reach Nationals, we can think about that. But for currently, we are just focusing on Central Champs at the moment.
Sean Green. I'm Alric Swiby, and that's your sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Answer's Mother's Day sale up to 70% off. Up to 70% off the best brands for mom. Answer's Gifts at Home, Tropical Plaza, and Answer's for Children, Tropical Plaza and Sovereign Center. Answer's Mother's Day sale till May 17, 2025.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Attention all wings lovers. KFC Saucy Wings with 2 new flavors. Saucy Wings. Mango habanero and buffalo. Hot, spicy. KFC we have Saucy Wings. Delicious, spicy, the best. So a new KFC Saucy Wings crunch the rest. Nobody does wings like KFC. New Saucy Wings is for me.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Delicious, hot, and spicy wings tossed in savory mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger licking good.
Mom, how are you managing?
I miss your father, but I have peace of mind knowing he had creditor protection.
What's that?
It's a very good plan from Scotiabank. It pays off our mortgage, auto loans, even his credit card bills so we don't inherit his debt.
Dad really loved us.
Yes, he did.
Don't leave your loved ones alone. Get creditor protection from Scotiabank. Visit us at jm.scotiabank.com today.
Throughout history, God has sent to humanity a series of divine educators known as manifestations of God, whose teachings have provided the basis for the advancement of civilization. These manifestations have included Abraham, Krishna, Zoroaster, Moses, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad. Baha'u'llah, the latest of these messengers, explained that the religions of the world come from the same source and are in essence successive chapters of one religion from God. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM Sundays at 7:45 p.m. for the Baha'i World Unity Program, a 15-minute feature that seeks to outline God's divine intervention and the work of the Baha'i faith. Let your vision be world-embracing. Baha'u'llah.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5 this first day of May 2025. Can you believe it's May already? The year is moving. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. How are you, Ricardo?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Good.
Well, we are turning our attention for the cover story. We're looking at the prevalence of counterfeit drugs, and that's because according to the chairman of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica, Dr. Ernestine Watson, there is a prevalence of counterfeit drugs in the country. According to Dr. Watson, unassuming Jamaicans are increasingly becoming victims of fake medications. She noted that some victims were seeking treatment for illnesses such as cancer, heart conditions, and blood clots. But those efforts proved futile once it emerged that the drugs being used for treatment were fake. Dr. Watson says prescription drugs are also being sold on social media platforms.
There is evidence of drugs in Jamaica that we know are not legally imported. If you do go on Instagram, there are sites advertising drugs that are prescription drugs. And when you try to make contact, you can get it. However, they seem to be able to know when it's the law coming for them because the sites are either removed.
That's Dr. Ernestine Watson. Now, she's saying that the lengthy delays in regulating medication contributes to the prevalence of counterfeit drugs. She says despite meeting with the portfolio minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, the delays persist.
Last year, we held a stakeholders meeting, and one of the key complaints is that the length of time it takes for a product to be registered, whether it is a finished product or it is a product to be used in manufacturing, must go through the Ministry of Health Standards and Regulations. It's very long. And this is something that we have had meetings with the minister, and the minister has recognized, and they have taken steps to help to move the system along. But so far, the complaints are still coming in that it is taking much too long to have a product registered. Some persons say they are waiting 5 years or more.
That's Dr. Ernestine Watson, the chairman of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica. She says Jamaicans who are aware of counterfeit medication being sold must report it to the police. Well, joining us to discuss further, we have the registrar of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica, Dr. Radcliffe Goulburn, and we also have the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica, Dr. Tyrone Smith. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you and to your listeners. Dr. Goulburn, good afternoon.
Let me start with you, Dr. Smith. Is this a one-off challenge or is it part of a more systemic issue?
I believe it's a more systemic issue. What was reported yesterday is not something that is new. We have seen it multiple times. We have seen it rear its head on several occasions. And it is something that we're trying to curtail from our end through education, sensitization of our members. So it is something that is really a challenge at this time.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Sanjay, when you say it's a challenge, what is the challenge? Why are you not able to regulate it?
It's not a problem of regulation, if I understand your question correctly. Counterfeit drugs coming into the country comes in a way to evade the mechanisms that are set up legally. So it's not a case where the regulatory framework is not there. It's there. what you may be alluding to, and I'm trying to preempt you.
No, yeah, let me clarify. So when I say regulate, so obviously there must be agents or outlets that are selling these medications, and I heard that it's being advertised, for example, on Instagram. Is there a crackdown on these outlets? What are the gaps, in other words?
All right, so as it relates to things being advertised on Instagram, remember, it is a case where you would have to see what is happening, or somebody may send something to you. I can give you one particular example where something was being advertised. It was shared with us, and through the Pharmacy Council. I guess Dr. Goldburn could speak to it more definitively. But what happened is that the police was called in. A sting operation was actually set up where the person was, an arrangement was made to purchase the goods, and when the person came, then the police was there on spot to arrest. Now, these are how we can actually act, but it's not like we know of all of the different Instagram pages or persons that are out there selling.
So you need Jamaicans to report these things, essentially.
We need people to report.
Yeah.
So the Pharmacy Council is there, the Pharmaceutical Society is there, whichever one of these organizations. If it is that you see something that looks untoward, report it to us, and we will take it from there.
Dr. Smith, can you speak to maybe give how these fake medications are entering the local market? Is it that they're being smuggled into the country? Is it that they're being manufactured locally? Give us an idea of, based on your research, how it's entering.
Some of them are being smuggled in, of course. A lot of persons are carrying things in their suitcase, in their luggages, right, through customs. I know customs do a lot to detect, to search and detect, but persons are actually somehow beating the system, and bringing it in. If you have somebody coming into a little on luggage and have it tucked away at the bottom of their suitcase or in something else, then these are easy ways in which you can actually evade customs.
But based on how it sounds, it sounds more than just someone or a few individuals coming in with stuff in the hand luggage. Seems like it's a much bigger shipment.
It could be, but at this point I have to speak based on what I know. Maybe something else is happening out there that we're not aware of as yet. But what we know is that the ones that we see and have acted upon, do seem to be the way in which it is actually entering the country. It is becoming a more lucrative trade, and persons are seeking to exploit it. So I would not be surprised if I hear that there's a more organized way in which persons are bringing it in.
And Dr. Goldburn, how can or how should Jamaicans approach this? In other words, I'm assuming that these drugs, the fake drugs, are cheaper than the authentic ones. Is that a fair assumption?
Well, it's possible. The possibility exists for that, because that is what would help to drive the trade also. So they look at volume of sales. Because the counterfeit, the WHO actually move away from using the word counterfeit, and they now use substandard and falsified medical products, falsified drugs. The thing is that the counterfeiters, if you want to use that word, there are several reasons, and Jamaica is surrounded by waters, so we know that we have a lot of contraband can come in undetected. So therefore that's an increased risk, and that is hard to really monitor, because it takes a lot to monitor it. But the thing is that most of the counterfeit drugs, if you still use the terminology just for ease of reference, and it's a product which really has no validity. It's not going to offer to the patient what is expected. So when they counterfeit, for example, any name drug, and you could use simple things, you don't want to call a lot of any drug, but say a painkiller,
right.
And if they go through the process of manufacturing, of having that manufactured, because it's not it's a big problem internationally. And so if someone buy that product for pain, which is of course cheap wherever they buy it, then of course it wouldn't be relieving the pain as it should, because it doesn't necessarily have the active ingredient for the named painkiller which they are offering it for. And usually these products are labeled identical to the listed drug or the original drug. So therefore it's very hard to detect. But what we in Jamaica here, what we from the Pharmacy Council's perspective, and of course Pharmaceutical Society, we would implore our patients or Jamaican populace to purchase their drugs from reputable sources, and that means
right. And that's what I wanted to ask you, Dr. Goldberg, because if I am prescribed something, Bugs might take up is a doctor, and let's say he's a doctor and he prescribes me something. What would push me to go to a random page on Instagram? Is it that these people have a business that normally sells drugs, or is just solely a matter of it look cheap over there, sir?
I think the major driver would be the cost, because drugs can be expensive, and but we have what is called generic drugs, and so generic drugs really offers a choice to the patients, and of course it is less costly, but it is as effective and should be as effective as the brand name drug. There are instances where, for example, because some generics even are even more effective than the original drug, because it was made many years before. So when the patent or that permit does the originator to make it is up, persons try, the generic manufacturers try to enhance that product. So there are instances where some patients might get better results from taking a generic than the original drug. There are cases where some drugs, the manufacturer of the original product, discontinue it from the market, but you still have the generic, which is a cheaper drug, still continuing on the market. So the cost
Gentlemen,
is a major factor.
Hold it there for me, Dr. Goldberg and Dr. Smith. We're up on the break. Soon come.
The Temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken.
Burrata! Buy a 3-piece hat-trick meal and get an extra piece free for a limited time only is...
It's 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 29 over in the second city of Montego Bay.
The benefits of the NWC debt amnesty will continue to flow for another 2 months. Oh yes, from now until May 31, you may qualify for debt write-offs. Also, if your residential account has been disconnected for 6 months or more, you may qualify. Pensioners, past beneficiaries, and those with commercial accounts may also qualify. So, what are you waiting for? Dial 888-225-5692 or visit a commercial office today to find out if you qualify. The NWC debt amnesty, a part of our bucket full of goodies.
New KFC saucy wings. Attention all wings lovers. KFC saucy wings with 2 new flavors. Saucy wings. Mango habanero and buffalo. Hot, spicy. KFC we have saucy wings. Delicious, spicy, the best. So a new KFC saucy wings crunch the rest. Nobody does wings like KFC. New saucy wings is for me.
New KFC saucy wings, delicious, hot, and spicy wings tossed in savory mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC saucy wings, it's finger licking good.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
My name is Sanjay Lewis, and we're speaking with Dr. Radcliffe Goldburn. He's a registrar of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica, and also Dr. Tyrone Smith. He's the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica. I want to pick up on a point that you made, Dr. Goldburn, because I now question if there is adequate collaboration between the Pharmacy Council, the police, and customs, who is performing the agency function to really shut down these illegal operations.
And yes, and of course the public is also an integral part of the project or the system, because they would be the beneficiary, the recipient of the products. But I also want to quickly say to you, though, as I was speaking earlier, that the Pharmacy Council enforces the Pharmacy Act, which is really a condition of sale act. And so the Pharmacy Council, we do have public education and we plan to do more. I know the Ministry of Health and Wellness is going to do some collaboration to educate the public on the safe use of their medications and so on. But we have 4 types of pharmacies in Jamaica. And the distribution or wholesale pharmacy is an important type, plus the regular retail or commercial pharmacy, and also the manufacturing pharmacy and the professional pharmacy. What we encourage our patients to do, the distributors, for example, distribution pharmacy, they have strict regulations which they follow in terms of the drugs importation, which the Ministry of Health Standards and Regulation Division see to that, so it comes from reputable sources. And so if once the distributor takes it, the pharmacies, if they purchase from those registered distributors, then you know that the onus is on that distributor to at all times maintain the integrity of the products they source and bring into Jamaica.
I hear you, Dr. Goldburn. I hear you, and that is very important. But what is critical for me is the customs, for example, that is performing the agency function to nab it when it gets in at the port, and also the police also to assist you to get those illegal operations shut down. So what about the collaboration? Are you doing that work from that end?
That's a very important question, and it needs a lot. It's something that the council grapple with over time, and it has been mentioned, but it needs multi-stakeholders collaboration, as you have been alluding to treat with such problems. And I don't want to mention everything, but the thing is that you need certain eyes at customs to really look out, because you can't rely on the customs officers to know everything that is a drug or so on. They can be misrepresented and with bill of lading, for example. It can be said it's something else different from what it really is coming in. And in an examination, we have customers calling us several times about certain products and what is written on the label and so on. But I think it's a very tedious job, and it's a very difficult thing to we would have to have a real serious look at it. And then
why do you say you don't want to say everything?
We're in a multinational space, and so counterfeiters are not just ordinary people walking on the street. They are very extremely sophisticated people, maybe far more sophisticated than many of us may think.
Why do you say you don't want to say everything?
No, I don't. Some things you don't want to spring any unnecessarily alarm, really, and you don't want to, because by and large, truth to be told, most of the drugs that are being used and dispensed in Jamaica, from pharmacies, they are from good sources. It's really the illicit trade, the underground trade, that really carries most of those counterfeit drugs.
And you're saying that, is it fair to say that underground trade is extensive?
The extent of it, I might not be able to speak to now, but I know it is enough to have, as you had heard Dr. Wanson mentioned, person advertising on Instagram that they have prescription drugs, because the products that they advertise are prescription drugs.
Is there a manpower issue also, Dr. Goldburn? Because one of the things that you just indicated is that customs constantly have to call to get more information. And is it that you don't have enough persons to assist customs when they call, or to go to the port if needs be?
But they call but things can come through customs, as I've said before, without undetected, because people have very sophisticated way of disguising their trade. So it's not necessarily not gonna put everything on a pallet and you see it labeled whatever it is. They have very good way of doing it. Plus, if it comes in on the port or on the ocean at night, or at some time when it's marine police not noticing, then customs wouldn't have a role to play in that, because they wouldn't be aware of that.
Let me ask. Sorry, finish your thought.
Go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah. So a lot of the things that surfaces here and that you may see advertised on Instagram and online internet and so on, is not necessarily that all of it comes through questions. So may very well do. But as you know, if we the society that we are in, and it's not only Jamaica, it's international problem. A lot of illegal items can come into countries without being customed.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamaica suffers from that too.
Yeah. Let me ask Dr. Smith, the penalties in place for those who engage in this kind of practice, do you think the penalties are enough to serve as a deterrent or a sufficient deterrent?
I wish I'd asked Dr. Goldberg that question because that would be within the remit of the Pharmacy Council. There are penalties in place. Whether or not they are adequate, that's something that we could review. But one of the things is, as you asked that question, is if we're looking at a deliberate act of individuals to bring these things in, even at custom, because I noticed you were drilling down into the custom situation a while ago. If somebody has a bottle labeled, say, vitamin C or aspirin, now these are legitimate products that nobody would trouble you or necessarily trouble you coming through. The big question is the content in that container what it says on the label? And this is some of the areas that we have a problem. You know, so like Dr. Goldberg said, there are sophisticated way in which these items are actually coming into the country. Remember, it's not just somebody trying something and if it works or if it doesn't work. This is person who have sat down, planned, and organized how they are going to get the thing through. You know?
Which is my challenge, Dr. Smith, because you understand how these individuals have become sophisticated, but it seems to me also that the Pharmacy Council is not raising the bar to be as sophisticated to nab these individuals.
Okay, let me take that. I need to clarify. The Pharmacy Council, as I was mentioning earlier, is a condition of sale legislation. So the importation of the drug into the country is the remit of the Standards Regulation Division of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. So we have no standing really in terms of importation. The ministry issues permits and so on for the persons to carry in those drugs. We are not a part of that. But when that drug comes into Jamaica, how it is disposed of, if it's a prescription item, it should be disposed of under a prescription written by a registered medical practitioner or a registered prescriber. Could be a registered dentist or, as the case may be, or a veterinary personnel. But the importation is not the remit of the Pharmacy Council. So the Standards and Regulation Division, for example, have inspectors who would go to, for example, like CSO, customs, the post office, because sometimes drugs come through the post, and they would inspect those packages and they would issue the clearance for it to be cleared and given to the person it comes from. It could be vitamins, it could be other items. If, for example, a doctor prescribes an item for a patient, which is not available in Jamaica at the time, they would get a special permit to import that item. When it comes in, the Standard Regulation would ensure, custom would contact Standard Regulation to ensure that they have and they would show the permit if they have it or if they didn't receive it yet. So it is permitted to come into the country, but those are usually in specific amounts for specific patients. So I just want to clarify that the Pharmacy Council is not a body responsible for the importation of drugs into Jamaica.
And
how it is disposed of. For example, if a person carrying the drug and we are aware that he is storing prescription drugs in a place which is not registered as a pharmacy under Section 13 of the Pharmacy Act, then we have a duty, we have a role to play where that is concerned.
But if I may...
Go ahead, Dr. Smith.
Right, if I may add something. There are 2 questions that you asked earlier, which Dr. Goldberg responded to, but I'd just like to add something to what he has said. One is the matter of cost, because whilst the generic drugs are generally more cost effective than the brands. In the particular example that I quoted earlier, where someone was selling it online and we organized to purchase a bottle, our legally registered distributor had that same product for less than $2,000. This gentleman was selling the same product online for $18,000. And one of the things is, because there are particular items, because when we talk about fake drugs coming in, and so there are particular items that are favored by these persons that are doing this, right? So you have the psychoactive substances, you have the sleep aids, you have the antibiotics, sexual enhancers, weight loss products. So those are some of the ones that are most popular seen, and these are things that people will just see advertised and just seek to get it. It's not a case where prescriptions are written and they opt to go online to search if anybody's selling it. That's not the case.
Yeah. Gentlemen, that's all the time we have. I wanted to ask about whether some of these drugs aren't already covered by the NHF, but we're out of time. Dr. Tyrone Smith, Dr. Radcliffe Goulburn, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
It's time now for the headlines.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
That hour was brought to you by the new KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger licking good.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6:01.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says an empirical study by the Florida International University has shown the effectiveness of states of public emergency in combating crime. Dr. Chang used his sectoral debate presentation on Tuesday to defend the government's use of the emergency measure in the ongoing crime fight.
A recent empirical study conducted by econometric and public policy scholars at the Florida International University and in collaboration with other young Jamaican professionals across the U.S. employed a range of causal models to assess the effectiveness of the states of public emergency in Jamaica over both short and long term. The results were compelling. An average across each police division, there was a 62% reduction in violent crimes following the implementation of the SOE compared to the same period practiced in the same divisions. 62% reduction. In these types of evaluation, Madam Speaker, that provide us with reliable and robust causal evidence that Jamaica's use of SOEs has had a significant and measurable impact on violent crime levels as a deterrence across the years they have been used.
Dr. Chang says the SOEs have proven effective not only in Jamaica, but across the Latin America and Caribbean regions.
Madam Speaker, Jamaica is not alone in recognizing the necessity for such measures. Over the last 2 years, several Latin American and Caribbean countries, including Trinidad and Tobago, Belize, Ecuador, Honduras, and Peru, have implemented states of public emergencies to swiftly curb spiraling homicide rates, save lives, and improve public order. According to a report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, no fewer than 30 state of public emergencies have been declared across the Latin American Caribbean region between April 2020 and April 2023.
Dr. Horace Chang, Minister of National Security. 3 prospective candidates for the PNP in St. James are seeking judicial review of the municipal corporation's decision to remove their campaign signs across the parish. Dr. Houghton, Senator Janice Allen, and Alan Bernard have asked the Supreme Court to step into the growing political dispute. The prospective candidates say at least 15 of their campaign posters have been removed by the local authority, without communicating with them. The comrades are alleging a motion passed by the Municipal Council prohibiting political posters is inconsistent with existing regulations. They say the fact that more than 54 months have passed since the government took office, the country is effectively in an election period, and therefore their posters are lawfully erected. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says there is no rush at this time to pass the Jamaica Teaching Council bill into law. She is reacting to concerns raised by the opposition PNP and education stakeholders over key provisions in the legislation.
There is no rush, and I don't think any of this is a rush. You know, we'd reached the end of the Joint Select Committee process. The drafters had reached the end of their drafting process, and so the next step you do usually is you table the bill and then debate it. And the bill does say that the regime comes into place at a date appointed by the minister. So the minister would have to appoint the date for it to come into effect. And then in addition to that, the bill also says that teachers are grandfathered in for 2 years. So the registration regime does not fully take effect for 2 years. So there's nothing around this bill that would be seen as even rushing. Even when we're ready to implement, there are so many safeguards to keep it on a slow process. And anything that's big like this, I actually am of the opinion that you go slower with implementing than trying to do it very fast.
The Jamaica Teaching Council bill has gone through various parts of the legislative process for over 2 decades. Minister Morris-Dixon is insisting that her administration will get the legislation over the finish line. But she agrees that based on her discussions with educators, many teachers remain uninformed about the provisions in the bill.
It's the political season, right? And so, you know, sometimes things get amplified in that kind of an environment. But just to note, we did a lot of consultation. It's one of the most consultative bills. So today, I was in Mandeville, and I went to 4 schools, and I went to the staff room in each of the schools, and I sat with the teachers, and they could ask me any question. And it was clear that for a lot of them, they didn't understand. You know, so for us as government, we work with the union. But in this case, it seems as if, you know, some of the teachers weren't really kept abreast of what was happening with the bill. And so we have to do some more work in terms of explaining things to the teachers.
Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, Minister of Education. An alarm is being raised about the prevalence of counterfeit medication being sold in Jamaica. The disclosure was made by Chairperson of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica, Dr. Ernestine Watson.
There is evidence of drugs in Jamaica that we know are not legally imported. If you do go on Instagram, there are sites advertising drugs that are prescription drugs. And when you try to make contact, you can get it. However, they seem to be able to know when it's the law coming for them because the sites are either removed.
Dr. Watson says the lengthy delays in regulating medication contribute to the prevalence of the counterfeit drugs. She says despite meeting with Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, the delays persist.
Last year, we held a stakeholders meeting, and one of the key complaints is that the length of time it takes for a product to be registered, whether it is a finished product or it is a product to be used in manufacturing, must go through the Ministry of Health Standards and Regulations. It's very long. And this is something that we have had meetings with the minister, and the minister has recognized, and they have taken steps to help to move the system along. But so far, the complaints are still coming in that it is taking much too long to have a product registered. Some persons say they are waiting 5 years or more.
Dr. Ernestine Watson, Chairperson of the Pharmacy Council of Jamaica. Veteran UK journalist Julian Marshall is retiring from the BBC. Marshall, who was well known to listeners of BBC World Service, served the corporation for 51 years. He covered major events such as the election of Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe in 1980 and Nelson Mandela's release from prison in South Africa in 1990. Marshall says covering Mandela's release and the subsequent 1994 general election in South Africa was a highlight of his career. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smikle. Sports is next.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the Hose and Tool Boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
Every day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us to amazing places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. A simple step can change a life. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run, formerly the Keep It Alive 5K, and make us try to support the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Project Star. Saturday, May 10 in Kingston and Saturday, May 24 in Montego Bay. New name, but same epic vibe. Register today at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Shine 2025.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alric Swiby. We kick things off with some footballers. The Jamaica Football Federation has unveiled the first set of sponsors backing the Reggae Boys as they pursue qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. With Jamaica just 8 matches from World Cup qualification, hopes are high that Jamaica is on the brink of securing a coveted spot in the tournament, which will be jointly hosted by the United States, Mexico, and Canada. At a sponsor signing ceremony held at Stuart Automotive Group's Jaguar showroom in Kingston, Stuart Automotive Group, St. Mary's Snack, and Supreme Ventures Just Bet were introduced as new campaign partners. These brands join long-standing sponsor Ray and Neville as part of the Federation's Road to 2026 campaign. President of the JFF, Michael Ricketts, says the sponsorship will provide vital support for the team's training, logistics, and preparation during this final phase of qualification.
We want to do what the girls have done. The girls have actually gone to 2 World Cup tournaments, and not just 2, but consecutively. No ordinary achievement for a country as small with such little resources as Jamaica. But when we have sponsors coming on board, and I hope that this will provide a kind of fillip, a kind of a catalyst for other private sector entities, and of course for government, because it's going to take a lot, but it is very, very important that we go to this World Cup, which of course will be held in our backyard in Mexico, US, and of course Canada. So everybody here can prepare yourselves because we will be going to the World Cup.
Michael Ricketts. With matches scheduled across June, September, October, and November, the Reggae Boys are entering a decisive stretch in their World Cup journey. Managing Director of Stuart Auto, Jackie Stuart Leclerc, says Stuart Auto is a long-standing partner of the JFF.
We've been on the road with Reggae Boys from before 1998, but most notably under coach Renee Samoas, and we made it. Jamaica made it to France, and that was an amazing feat, and the boys must do it again. So it's not if, it's when. We are little, but we're Talawa.
Now the Chicago Stars FC fired a second-year head coach Lauren Donaldson after 1 win and 5 defeats since the start of the National Women's Soccer League season. Masakai Heme, the first assistant coach, was named interim head coach on Wednesday. Heme is the Stars' 5th head coach, acting or permanent, since November 22, 2021. The Stars hired Donaldson in December 2023, hoping the former head coach of the Jamaica women's national team could turn around a franchise that has not won a playoff game since 2021. The team made the playoff last season despite an average record after finishing in last place in the National Women's Soccer League in 2023 and lost its opener to number 1 seed Orlando Pride. The Stars are headed in the opposite direction of the playoffs this season, standing in last place with just 3 points. In their first 6 games, the Stars have scored 3 goals and given up 14. Their only victory came April 13 when they defeated Bay FC 2-1. The team will play their first game without Donaldson on the road against Gotham FC on Sunday. Manchester United took a huge step towards reaching the Europa League final with a 3-0 win in the first leg against 10-man Atletico Bilbao, ensuring they take a big advantage into the semi-final second leg at Old Trafford.
It's a great cross, it's a great chance, it's 1-0 to Manchester United, and it's finished off quite brilliantly by Casemiro. But what about the twisting and turning from Harry Maguire? Can Bruno Fernandes keep his cool? Perfect penalty from Bruno Fernandes, who said, calm yourselves down everybody, I was never going to miss that. And Manchester United lead 2-0. Trying to do something, Bruno Fernandes is in, this is number 3, Bruno Fernandes, 2 on the night for the Manchester United captain, 3 goals before half-time. The Athletic Bilbao supporters stunned.
And Tottenham also has one foot in the final with a deserved 3-1 first leg win over Norwegian side Bodø Glimt.
Porro with a cross is a decent one. Richarlison, Johnson is there, and Tottenham lead. Less than 40 seconds on the clock, and Tottenham's top scorer is tearing it up already. Pedro Porro looking for Maddison, finding Maddison, lovely touch, and it's there. Dominic Solanke against Nikita Hiking for a 3-0 lead for Spurs. Solanke, victory, he wins that duel and puts Tottenham in pole position. Here's Saltness into the box. Saltness, exactly what Tottenham didn't want, and the man who got 2 goals against Lazio has one against Tottenham Hotspur, which might be priceless.
Now to cricket, as at sports time, Windward Islands women reached 5-1 against Jamaica in their opening match of the Cricket West Indies T20 Blazers at Arnos Vale. Narissa Crofton 3 is the batter back in the pavilion. Meanwhile, Guyana women beat the Leeward Islands by 7 wickets in their match. Batting first, the Leewards made 88 for 7 off their 20 overs. Captain Amanda Edwards made 28 and Kriana Joseph 25. Shanita Grimond took 3 wickets and Ashmini Munasar took 2. In reply, Guyana raced to victory inside 19 overs. Liana Grimond made 33 and the captain Shermaine Campbell 23. Final scores: Leeward Islands 88 for 7, Guyana 89 for 3. And Trinidad and Tobago women beat Barbados by 36 runs. Chasing 115 to win, Barbados were bowled out for 78 with Kishona Knight top scoring with 24. Steffi Sue Grimm finished with 3 for 15 while Leanne Kirby took 2 wickets. Earlier, Trinidad and Tobago made 114 for 7 off their 20 overs. Rachel Vincent made 50 and Brittany Cooper 42. Kia Elliott bagged 5 wickets. Jamaica Titans sits at 5th on the 6-team Cricket West Indies Breakout T20 League after yesterday's 6-wicket loss to Trinidad and Tobago Legions. The Titans are on 7 points after 3 rounds. They have so far registered a win and 2 defeats. The top 3 teams qualify for the knockout stages. The Legions currently lead the standings with 24 points, followed by Leeward Islands Thunder 14, and Windward Islands Infernos and Barbados Pelicans are tied on 8 points. However, the Infernos has a superior net run rate. Now to athletics, as Chicago coach of Nagahead Primary, Sean Green, says they are ready to defend their in-sport All-Island Primary School Athletics Championships titles. Over 6,000 athletes from more than 130 schools are expected to participate in the event from May 5 to 31. The championships will unfold in 4 stages. First, the Central Championships at GC Foster College starting on May 5. Nagahead are the Central and the National champions.
The team basically prepared for the last few months, so the team is in good stead. Because we don't see all the teams, so we're not going to get complacent. But the team is a well-rounded team. All teams, we're not going to struggle in all areas. But I think we can give a good account of ourselves and trying to hold on to the Central Championship. And then when we reach Nationals, we can think about that. But for currently, we are just focusing on Central Champs at the moment.
Green says mental preparation is just as important as the physical preparation.
I'm going to always tell them to stay focused, take one event at a time, and then it will work out itself. But as I always tell them, keep grounded and stay focused. Last year I had a special team, so I can't make the comparison as yet, but they had a set. But they have a sufficient replacement. Once the girls go out there and the boys go out there to compete, they will do well. Once they go there and execute on the day, I expect them to do well. But that team last year was some special talented students. Hence, these students will just have to keep them focused and maintain hard work and discipline.
Sean Green. Meanwhile, Western Championships is set for sets from May 8 to 10, Eastern Championships at Stadium East from May 14 to 16, and the grand finale will take place at the National Stadium from May 29 to 31. And finally, in artistic swimming, Jamaica's largest contingent of artistic swimming athletes left the island today to participate in the 2025 World Invitational set for the Coral Spring Aquatic Complex in Florida from May 2 to 4. This year, the Jam United team, which includes representation from 4 local clubs, will have 27 athletes representing Jamaica at the event that brings together top artistic swimming teams from the United States and over 10 countries across the globe. They'll be showcasing their highest level of skills, creativity, and athleticism. National coach Robin Ching Sang says they want to improve on last year's performance.
Last year we had 21 athletes that represented, and we came back with 37 medals, which broke down to be 16 gold, 12 silver, and 9 bronze medals, in addition to 2 athletes claiming the Best Figures Award spot in their age category.
Robin Ching Sang. I'm Alric Swiby. And that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited are authorized distributors of international brands ABB, Omron, STC, Festo, and Thomas & Betts. They supply programmable logic controllers, photoelectric and proximity sensors, contactors and soft starters, power supplies, variable frequency drives, and much more. Visit them at 24 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston, or shop 32 Overton Plaza, 46 Union Street, Montego Bay, or visit their website cleasling.net. Cleasing Industrial Supplies for all your industrial automation and control solutions.
Every day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us to amazing places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. A simple step can change a life. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run, formerly the Keep It Alive 5K, and make us try to support the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Project Star. Saturday, May 10 in Kingston and Saturday, May 24 in Montego Bay. New name, but same epic vibe. Register today at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Shine 2025.
Celebrate mom with the Jamaica Observer's For Moms Mother's Day promotion. Win big for mom with a $50,000 cash prize, appliances, gift certificates, movie passes, and more. Just spend $6,000 or more with your multi-link card. Grab the Daily Observer, complete the entry form, and submit it with your receipt. 4 lucky moms will win. Enter by May 16th and make this Mother's Day unforgettable. See the Jamaica Observer for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, welcome to Public Opinion here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Special good evening to our YouTubers. We invite you to weigh in on today's Public Opinion. So, the Center for Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, CISOCA, has charged an elderly farmer with 3 counts of rape in connection with allegations of sexual assault of a girl 45 years ago. Charged is 75-year-old farmer Frederick Watson of Trinity District in Porus in Manchester. The incident is alleged to have occurred in Retirement District St. Elizabeth between 1980 and 1982. Reports are that Watson and the female were living at the same address where he sexually assaulted her on several occasions. It's not known how old the female was at the time of the alleged assaults. However, the police say she reported the matter in January 2025. An investigation was then launched. Watson was taken into custody on Monday, April 2, and he was charged following a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. And in light of the fact that this is a pretty different matter than ones you're used to hearing in the news, usually there isn't a 45-year gap between the alleged assault and the reporting. So in light of that, we decided to ask in Public Opinion today, what's your reaction to the prosecution of a rape case after 45 5 years. Right? Let's take a look at the answers we got on Instagram. Ross Clooney Lorraine says, excellent idea. This will probably give the victim some sort of closure. Kay Wilson Kelly says we need the register as well. LVSS Charlotte says, we feel good. Enough more people out there that have assaulted lots of kids back in the day and were never ever brought to justice. Silent Music says, once he is guilty, he should be punished. Too many predators going around without facing consequences for their actions, while too many victims are left broken and feel betrayed by the system. Let's see. Jet Slate believes there's no way they can convict the person because they don't have any evidence. It's her word against his. Will Ryan Wilson says a crime is a crime. However long it takes for you to be charged, justice is served. Yay Perry 2550 says justice delayed is justice denied. What else we have here? Mika Nikita says great job. Predators must never feel safe like they've gotten away. It sets a great example and a precedent. It's time to root out the rape culture. All right. Let's see what we have over on Twitter. What's your reaction to the prosecution of a rape case over 45? Yeah, 45-year-old matter this is, yeah? Let's take a look. I'm actually seeing some discussion already starting in the YouTube chat. I might have to go over there before we even go further, because I'm seeing already Marigold Weber says even if the crime was committed 100 years ago, the perpetrator must be prosecuted. Kirk Buchanan says, wow, 45 years later? Jaja. All right, let's see what we have here on Instagram. So the question was not Instagram. We just read Instagram. Let's take a look at what we have over on Facebook. When we take a look over on Facebook, let's see what we got here. Prince Wellington says, very good. Fairs. Audley Phillips says, while it's true that there are no statute of limitations for such crime, the outcome of this would be heavily dependent on the credibility and believability of the accused. Without forensic and physical evidence that would not be available 45 years later, this matter would boil down to a he said, she said situation, which is unlikely to stand up in court. In light of this, I expect this case to be dismissed for lack of credible and reliable evidence. Shines for Life Law says this won't have any legs to stand in court with a good defense attorney. What else we have here? Maxine Riley says, the day and age we're living in, it's more than likely that the kind of justice the alleged victim is seeking will not be delivered, considering that forensic evidence may not be available to substantiate claims. What else we have here? Daphne McReith says it doesn't matter how many years has passed, as long as he's found to have committed the crime, he must do the time. Neil Walters says, a bit long, but it shows that you can run, but you can't hide. Philip Jackson says, why now? Let's see how this can stand up to scrutiny when it comes to integrity. If it does, then great. Let justice take its course. All right. What else we have here? Hard pill to swallow. Have to look at the facts of the case much closer. What else we have here? Right. So that's what we have so far on Facebook. But what do we have over on YouTube? What are the YouTubers saying? KJW says no statute of limitation on rape or murder. Yes, that's true. Josephine says nonsense. Okay, why so? What else we have? Mari Goldweber says she might have been powerless during those years and afraid to report it. Robert McKenzie, same thing, him get away. Paul Peart's waving. Hi, Paul Peart, how are you? All right. Some of these are actually crazy. I can't even read. But Carlene Smith says, go for it. Let the courts decide. It is unfortunate that the accuser was not empowered before now. Okay, and given, well, we don't know the age of the accuser, unfortunately. So, based on how old they were, that's another thing that could be brought up. Maybe they were a child. And if they were a child, then that would probably strengthen one of the arguments I was reading up here when they said, maybe at the time they were not feeling empowered enough to do so before now. All right, man. Never too late to hold people accountable, says Marcus the Best. What else we have here? Late but justice may reach, says Gathwick. What else we got here? Take too long to report, says Cheerful Bird. Motivator says, justice, justice. Cynthia Matheson says, crime is a crime. Must pay for it if guilty. Yeah, well, and that's the discussion we were having when we were brainstorming, asking this question. Because to say it's too long, it's one thing if you say it's too long in terms of there not being any evidence available. But the other argument is that there should technically be no such thing as too long to report a crime, assuming that this crime has actually happened, right? In terms of any crime, there should be no such thing as too long to report, if you get what I'm saying. Because by saying it's too long to report, in my opinion, that's saying that certain crimes have expiration dates where if enough time has passed, it no longer counts. It's null and void. And that's not necessarily what the statute of limitations would seek to achieve. But still, the argument that you take too long to report so it shouldn't be tried again, I don't agree with personally, because that means that technically you're saying crime has an expiration date. And in theory, crime should not have an expiration date. I see a lot of people saying in the YouTube chat and in the Facebook chat, listen, man, as long as there's enough evidence to prove that the crime was committed, it don't matter if it was 45 minutes ago or 45 years ago. If the person's guilty, they're guilty and they get punished, yeah? Exactly. Carlene Smith says, exactly, Mahiri. Too long to be wrong, yeah? All right. What else do we have here? What else do we got in here to read? Queen D says, crime is a crime. Not sure if she will get justice as it was compromised, but we'll see. All right. And another thing we were speaking about is in this matter, the person was charged. Yeah. So if there was nothing within that question and answer segment to say, you know, this person probably hasn't done it based on the interview that we've conducted with them. But an interview was conducted first, and then the charges were laid. And the discussion we were having was the mere fact that there's been a discussion, there's been a question and answer session, and from that question and answer session, it was decided, yes, this person is going to be charged, then surely there is something there that can be tried in court. That doesn't mean this person is guilty. That doesn't mean this person is innocent. But there's enough within that discussion to say, we're charging you, we're bringing this case to prosecution. Right? Go on to prison if you're guilty, says Willow Will. All right, what else do we have here? Errol Murray says, after so many years, but if the crime is done, then the person should be held to account. And I think this is something you could... One thing I'm realizing with this discussion is that it almost reminds me kind of like reparations in a bit. You know, Bugs? Like reparations. People say, what? What's the argument against reparations? It was too long ago, so it shouldn't matter anymore. There are people, the people that fight for reparations saying, listen, man, it doesn't matter how long ago it happened. We still want compensation for the atrocities of back then. So that's not necessarily the same situation as this, but it's something you could maybe correlate to this. But I'm seeing Alvin Bernard saying, it's too long, man. Custis Brown is also saying American style. This is too long. Yeah, man. But yeah, Kurt Buchanan says, caught late, but him reached the courthouse now. And it's a court matter now. So we have to wait and see. There's no guilty. There's no innocent. The person's been charged. And now, time will tell, man. Time will tell. 45 years to now. And now we're going to see what's happening. But there we go, man. Thank you, as always, for participating in Public Opinion today, May 1. It's time for the Business Report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:33. Good evening. Welcome to the Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. The Trump administration's tariffs on imported cars and auto parts will cost General Motors between $4 billion and $5 billion this year. But in an interview with CNN, CEO Mary Barra said the company doesn't necessarily expect to pass those higher costs on to consumers in the form of elevated prices. The company does expect the higher tariff costs to eat into its earnings as it slashed its profit guidance for the year. The estimated tariff cost and the lower profit target were revealed in a letter to shareholders from Barra, released Thursday. The letter and guidance were delayed from their planned release on Tuesday when the company reported lower first quarter earnings and awaited tariff changes from the Trump administration. The lower earnings guidance resulted in GM halting plans to spend additional billions in repurchasing its stock, a move it announced on Tuesday. But it's not just investors who could be hurt by the lower profits. The company is most known for owning and manufacturing 4 automobile brands: Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. The luxury department store Harrods says it's the latest retailer to have been targeted by a cyber attack. The firm said it had restricted internet access at our sites following an attempt to gain access to its systems. It comes the day after the Co-op shut down parts of its IT systems to fend off a hack, while Marks & Spencer continues to deal with a cyber attack that has cost it millions of pounds in lost sales. Harrods says its flagship store remained open, and it continues to operate online sales. Harrods did not clarify what the scale of the impact on its network was, but said customers were being asked to not do anything differently at this point. A statement from Harrods read, quote, "We recently experienced attempts to gain unauthorized access to some of our systems," end quotes. And in currency markets, it cost 159 Jamaican dollars and 46 cents to buy $1. It costs 212 Jamaican dollars and 99 cents to buy £1 British pound, and it costs 115 Jamaican dollars and 64 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Good evening.
At Kia, driving your future means joining the movement that inspires. Whether it's the small but mighty Picanto hatchback or the top-of-the-line tech-rich Sorento SUV, there's a Kia that perfectly fits your lifestyle and your budget. ATL Automotive has gotten Jamaicans behind the wheels of thousands of Kias for the past 7 years. And we're ready to get you behind the wheel of a Kia too. Simply visit the nearest Kia showroom for a test drive now.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Attention all wings lovers. KFC Saucy Wings with 2 new flavors. Saucy Wings. Mango habanero and buffalo. Spicy. KFC we have Saucy Wings. Delicious. Spicy the best. So a new KFC Saucy Wings crush the rest. Nobody does wings like KFC. New Saucy Wings is for me.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Delicious, hot, and spicy wings tossed in savory mango habanero or buffalo sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger-licking good.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
The nationwide 90FM Schoolyard Tour 2025 is taking the vibes island-wide, straight to your schoolyard. Tune in to the E-Zone from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on May 2 as we broadcast from Dint Hill Technical High School in Linstead. It's all about empowering minds and igniting the fun. Expect live entertainment, games, and big surprises as we bring the nationwide 90FM energy to every stop. And you know we are going to stream it live on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. So tune in to the E-Zone May 2 from 1 to 4 p.m. It's the Schoolyard Tour at Dint Hill Technical High School. Catch the live stream on Nationwide's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. Keep your station locked to Nationwide 90FM for more details. All this and more only on Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. The Schoolyard Tour is brought to you by the Students' Loan Bureau, KFC, Tip Friendly Society, National Council on Drug Abuse, and ATL Automotive.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path, unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM on Tuesday, May 6 from 2 to 4 p.m. for the live sectoral presentation by the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort. You can also view the presentation on Nationwide 90 FM's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM Tuesday, May 6 from 2 to 4 p.m. It's the live sectoral presentation by Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
It's 6:41. That means it's time for the nation's business. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, hello to you. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Well, a civil society group, Hear the Children's Cry, is urging the government to fund a 10-year project to counter what it calls the current crisis of poor parenting. The group says the Disrupt Poor Parenting project would be similar to what has been done to help the JCF and the JDF disrupt gangs and curb violence.
That's interesting. According to Director of Hear the Children's Cry, Nigel Cooper, the 10-year project would be a logical follow-up to the government's spending of resources to help strengthen the police. Mr. Cooper says the National Children's Registry receives approximately 1,200 cases of abuse monthly.
Well, to this end, Mr. Cooper is calling on the government to implement a proposed project to reverse poor parenting practices. He says the matter must be treated with urgency, and the director is recommending a multi-layered approach using personal interventions combined with behavior modification campaigns. He says parents with children aged 6 to 16 years should also be targeted.
Mr. Cooper noted that the project would need to be well funded and could cost billions. However, he states that the decline in family dynamics is far more expensive to treat. And so he says the group and other stakeholders can unite to work out the project design and costing details. He joins us now. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Ricardo and Sanjay. Thanks for having us on your program this evening.
Not a problem. Thanks for joining us. Nigel Cooper, I don't think you really think that this is something that can realistically happen, do you?
I think so, and I think persons have to recognize where we're at with parenting in Jamaica. And, some persons say that we are alarmist, but we keep seeing these incidents of poor parenting and we just say, oh, it's another one. There needs to be a solution, an intervention. We can't just keep every, monthly, weekly seeing poor practices, incidents, and everybody say, oh, we get sensitized to the poor practices and the poor impacts, and it's impacting our children negatively and the society in a whole. So we believe this intervention, and we're calling it the same approach where the government has disrupted. Apparently, it seems to have been some success, having put lots of resources to the JCF and JDF to disrupt the gangs. We believe the government should spend a lot of resources on a program to disrupt poor parenting practices. And what we're talking about is a change of culture. It's a change of how parents act between their children. Some parents, not saying all parents do, but how, where our society has gotten. And to change culture, Ricardo and Sanjay, takes time. And it's going to take resources. So this is a deliberate call that we need the resources. And yes, people are going to say, oh, yeah, hear children's cry. No way government can afford billions of dollars over 10 years. But we're saying the government cannot not afford to do it if we want a society that we want to live and raise our children in Jamaica. So
hold that point. Hold that point for us. We're up on a break. Let's take the break and come back to continue with you.
This time signal is sponsored by Janet Global Accreditation, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. The time is now.
It's 6:45.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We have with us Director of Hear the Children's Cry, Nigel Cooper. They want a 10-year project to counter the crisis of poor parenting. That's what they're calling it, gripping Jamaica. And they are conceding that this is going to cost billions, potentially billions of dollars. But Mr. Cooper before the break was saying this is worth it because essentially the long-term problems that we are experiencing as a society can be attributed to poor parenting. And so my question then would be, is it government-led or government provides the money to civil society actors to execute?
Well, first, it has to be designed by not just government, by civil society actors, the Save Children's Cry, the organizations that come on. So the first thing is to have it properly designed, that it works, a workable design, 10-year project, with all different programs. And this is in addition to what the Parenting Commission currently does and CPFSA does. So it's not try and think out their budgets. No, we need this additional funding. And so, but it should be government funded because the private sector reality, very few private sector people are going to actually fund it. If they want to contribute, fine. But we think it has to be government sponsored over a 10-year period. And I keep saying 10 years because we're realistic. It is not an overnight 1-year project where you throw a couple $1 million at it and it sounds good for PR purposes. No, we want real change. The children of Jamaica need real change. We need real, meaningful intervention. It costs money. So if it's between a road being built and the intervention, we may say, hey, do the intervention still build a road? Right. That may sound, for some people, not acceptable, but we think it is.
Help us to understand then, what would a multi-layered approach to behavior modification and, as you indicated, this personal interventions, what would it look like in practice?
Right. Well, it would involve several activities. It would include in-person conversations, community-led activities. It would involve messaging using different media, because just like in marketing, and you guys are in the marketing world, you have to keep repeating a message until it soaks into the person's mental, mindset. It would include, so a lot of it is going to be pushing positive parenting behavior, examples, role plays, all that until the change starts to come in. It's going to include, PTAs in the schools, in the communities. So it's a comprehensive approach. But the key thing is you have to keep repeating the message because you're trying to change culture. As I said, it's not easy to change how people behave. It is one of the most difficult things to do. And so it takes time and resources. But we're in a battle that we cannot lose. We need to put in these resources to make the change because we're on a slippery slope. We are deteriorating, and if we don't stop it and start to put the resources to move up the slope, we're going to get to a point where nobody wants to raise their children in Jamaica. I don't think any of us want that day to come in Jamaica.
And this project would be administered by the government, not through civil society, correct?
Well, it would be the government. Again, that's why we need to, and we're willing here at Children's Cries, we need to meet with the government and stakeholders to look on the project design. Clearly, the government on its own wouldn't be able to implement it. So we have several NGOs. Many of the NGOs are there, but just not well funded. Right? It's the reality. And so we believe that there is enough NGOs and civil groups. I keep using the Kiwanis because their mission is to serve children worldwide. So they have a similar mandate to serve children. So we think there is enough once it's resourced. The problem we have in Jamaica, very few companies, I give thanks to Yellow Media for supporting us in our Missing Children Support Program. But very few companies really support NGOs. So the government needs to do that. So it is a combination of government and NGO. The government would fund it, and the NGOs and civil society would help implement.
Well, how would you counter the narrative that many of these civil society groups and these NGOs, they take this funding and majority of the funding goes towards administration and not to the root cause of the problem? How do you counter that narrative?
Sure, man. Well, in your project design, you would say, hey, no more than 10% of your projects can be for admin. Admin is a real cost. It's not us, So, but then, and that's why I said we have to meet to design the project. So you can say, hey, we're not allowing more than 10% of the project cost for admin. We want it as much as it is to go into the actual programs, the activities to reach parents, to reach the children that are being impacted.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways you can design your projects to make it and monitor. Again, you first thing you set up a project management office, a PMO, to run the whole project, and so it's properly run. We're not asking people just to throw money, taxpayers' money away and say, just spend money without any accountability. We're not into that.
Yeah. How would you respond to those who say, boy, whenever government gets involved in these things, it becomes tricky? I know a lot of people point to, for example, the Values and Attitudes program from the 90s that failed. Right, former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson. How do you respond to that concern? That government just shouldn't be doing that kind of a thing?
Couldn't get it done. Well, part of it is the resources and the timing. There are some things that the time persons don't appreciate. And when most of the Prime Minister P.J. Patterson implementing the value and attitude, some people laugh. Some say, boy, it wasn't. And I think maybe 20 odd years after that, I think persons recognize. I hope more people realize now the importance of such type campaigns. And private sector not going to lead it, not going to invest in it. Lead investment, so government has to do it. But the thing is, it has to be properly resourced. If it's not resourced, you will have the output. You have to spend to get the output. And that's why we're saying it could conceivably cost millions. And we're not afraid to say so. And we know people are going to say, boy, we can't afford it. As I said before, we cannot not afford it.
And I'm being reminded that Project STAR uses a similar model, but they're focused on community development, socioeconomic development of communities led by the community, which is essentially a public-private partnership. That's what you envision, Mr. Cooper?
Somewhat similar, yes, but again, we are looking at the messaging, to change the behavior. But yes, it would be a similar. You could use a similar type design, that Project STAR, in terms of the partnership approach. But it's a broader scale, targeted to a broader range of parents from ages, those children between ages 6 and 16, targeting them in a different multiple approach, and it takes money. We know how much it costs to put an adult on a radio station, right? But we need different media. There's so many different media, different ways you need to get to the parents now, and it's costly.
Right. Nigel, I remember the last time we had you on, there was a discussion about changing some of the norms or some of the things that parents see as acceptable within specific communities. That is a problem that we have. And in this approach, how do you propose to change those things that we know are wrong, but in some communities, parents consider it to be the norm?
And the way you do it is by repeating. Just as a marketer will tell you, you repeat. You repeat the positive messages, you show what is a positive behavior, and you repeat it. You show them over and over again. That is one of the strategies you use. And that's what marketers do. They repeat until it sinks into the person's psyche. And that's why it's a 10-year program. It's not that we're going to expect overnight everybody to have an epiphany and say, oh, we're stopping the way we do. But it is a long-term program. You're changing the culture. One of the most difficult things to do is to change culture.
What are the measures that you would suggest to be implemented to measure the success of what you're trying to deliver within the respective communities?
Sure. Well, one of the measures, indicators would be, for example, reduction in the cases of abuses that are being reported, as an example. So anything that we would have to have measurable, verifiable indicators, and that could be one. We can look at the family courts. The number of cases that are now in the family courts is versus when we started. So there are ways that we can measure, the impact of this particular project.
When you go into these communities, what do you hear from the parents, especially those who are having challenges in raising children? What do you hear from them?
Well, we see it on the Missing Children's Program, which is sponsored by Yellow Media, where, a lot of children run away because of socio-economic problems, because of some for molestation, some because, the whole structure of the family is not there. So a lot of it focuses on economic pressure, but you still have several Jamaicans, they may not be economically well off, but they still manage to raise their children. So it's not necessarily about economics, that's a factor, but there are people who have very little resources but manage to raise their children. They still spend time with their children. They give their children quality time. They can't give them a lot of economic, money, but they love them. They're at every PTA meeting. They play with their children. They spend quality time, not on WhatsApp with them. They're on physical quality time. And these are things that can be done now. And even for child's month, these are things we encourage parents now to do. That there are things, hey, spend quality time with your children. Have the uncomfortable conversations earlier. Back in the day, we'd wait till children are in teenagers to start having some uncomfortable conversations. The sad reality is, from children at age 6, we need to start having uncomfortable conversations with your children about sex, etc., etc. Right? So there are things that parents can do now, but there needs to be resources to have a properly designed campaign to disrupt the poor parenting. Because if we don't have such a campaign, we're going to get overrun, and the place is going to become more chaotic. And nobody in Jamaica wants that.
Nigel Cooper, from as long as I can recall, I've seen ads, I've seen billboards, I've heard radio PSAs, I heard pastors talking about it, teachers. Do not abuse children, do not abuse children. People have repeated the message over and over and over again. And still, the problem persists. So I guess I'm trying to understand what difference...
Well, this is a 10-year... This is a more 10-year sustained program. If you remember, how old you are, but remember the Too or Too Many campaign.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that one.
I remember that one. I'm probably dating myself.
Right, so all I'm saying is this is this is a well-resourced. Part of the problem is the messages are consistent. There's somebody around that corner say it, somebody over there say it.
So you want it consolidated.
Right, right. It's Children's Month. When the Children's Month, we bring it up, and then we forget after Children's Month. So that's why I'm saying what we're coming with must be a well-designed, consistent campaign that is consistent for 10 years, consistent messaging, and that's why it has to be well-designed. I said we are willing. Here's Children's Cry. Sit down with government, sit down with stakeholders to flush out the full project design.
I want to pick your brain a little bit as you speak about that family planning survey campaign that was done. The 2 is better than too many. I'm sure you have looked at it. And in your estimation, what do you think was the strategy that worked for that project? Because during that time, it actually worked. And is there any lessons learned from that one that maybe we could move into this campaign that you're proposing?
Well, as I said, the key thing is, and marketers know it, repeat. They kept repeating the message, and it sunk in. I think, though, the advantage they had then, there were less media houses and channels, so you're able to easier get through the message using, 2 or some main channels. Now, we have, as you appreciate, a lot of different media sources. Some people are on Instagram only, some people only listen to Nationwide, nothing else. So that's part of the reason why it's going to probably cost more this time, because we need to try and cover as much as we can the different touch points where people are at. And so such a campaign, if they're going to tour too many campaigns now, it will cost them much more if they're trying to touch all different. So you have to touch people in the communities, in the schools, the different media. So it's a much more complex project now than
which leads me to my next point. And I'm happy that you made mention of that. There's so much access, right, that is available. Yeah. It's difficult for you to counter some of those narratives when individuals have easy access to misinformation that is peddled all across social media. It's a tough task.
Right. Yeah, no, it's not easy, but I'm saying that's why it I keep saying, has to be well resourced. It's not something you can throw 10 million at and say, yeah, man, 10 million a year we good. It's not going to work, because this is what we're fighting against. We're competing for the spaces, for the touch points, the various media platforms, the various TV, radio stations, the different community events, all these things where we have to touch in. So it's not, and that's why it's a very comprehensive. It has a very comprehensive, well thought out and well implemented plan.
Nigel Cooper, thank you so much for your time. It's a worthwhile initiative, and let's hope that those who need to hear have heard. Thank you so much for your time.
And we still encourage parents to spend quality time with their children, play with them, not computer games, take out a pack of cards or dominoes, play with them, learn, get to listen to your children. So, do that, bond a relationship, have a relationship with your child.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thank you.
All the best.
All right. We take the break, and after the break, we're going to look at how AI is creating new pathways to wealth building for everyday Jamaicans. That should be interesting.
Whether you buy it, build it, or improve it, it's time to home it with the National Housing Trust. Join us as we follow the journey of one couple and their friends towards a more secure future for their families. Home It is brought to you by the NHT, the key to your home.
Daddy, look!
What on, baby?
She trying to show you the river down in the valley. Why, Jamaica nice,
Me no know where the one genuine a carry in the St. Mary Bush ago. Big public holiday and people have to jugu pan country road. Make you not just buy one NHT scheme house.
Boy, my sister miserable no man. You not glad you're in the fresh air. Instead I inhale hair product all day.
Veronica, if you have land and can put up your own house from scratch, just like how you want it, no better you leave the scheme house them for you have that option there.
Wow, look there, man.
Wow.
Yes, my youth, this is land. Watch that. Banana like trouble.
No, sir. Look at that view. Look, Jenny. That's the sea, you know.
Yay! And cows, Mommy.
Cow? Which part? Me no love cow, you know.
Genuine, I can't believe you sit down on land like this. And they are town a catch up.
But I wait till me get some funds, man. But since you put the NHD thing in my head, I just that me a pre, you know.
You not afraid, man? Just come take it over, brother.
They even go there say, you know, a country me born and grow. We not play with land round here. You see over there, sir? One of my cousin live there, you know. He my top man round here. Everybody know him. I feel him call them there. We just fence it round and I give an eye until me ready. Because me just plan for just build little. You see it? Worse like how me a single man. We just started a 1 bedroom, a 1 bathroom and a kitchen.
You know what this is your motherland?
It was really my grandfather still. But through my father passed, he didn't give my mother for hold it for me.
Yo, Virgin, make sure you have the title, you know, brother. It's best if you have a registered title to get a loan from NHD to build on the land. Although, I hear that if you don't have a title, they will start the process while they look about the paperwork.
Well, I have a whole heap of paper my mother give me and say me to keep it safe because it proves that me own the land. When I go home, me check it still.
Hey, Genuine, come will you crown them? Why?
What go on, my Jenna? Well, leader.
He just text me and say he can't make it. He might get a charter for go to the airport.
He might do charter now? Jaja.
Him say him did want to try it still. I don't know if it's just a one-time thing or him serious. You order something to eat?
What you mean, man? Well, raw.
Misty! The usual here?
Boy, Akeem, I don't see no title for the land, you know. All I see is my grandfather letter that say he might give me the land as a gift. And my mother in charge of it until I turn 21.
Well, 21 pass, you ain't gone a long time. So you don't have to worry about that.
I'm going to see some receipt from when him buy the land, you know.
You been paying the property tax then?
What you mean, man?
Good. All you have to do is take all of them paper there where you have and your property tax receipts and go up a National Land Agency up at Arden Road.
Oh.
As long as you have the proof that your grandfather was the rightful owner and then give you the land, then we'll give you advice about how to start to get a registered title.
Okay. That sound like lawyer business. I'm gonna have them money there right now.
Brother, nobody pick the start, man. Do what them tell you to do first and see how you get through. Because me here say all lawyer work at an agency too, you know, brother.
You know what this show me? You really have to plan out things proper when you think about owning a home, you know. All like me, you know, I only there think about the building side. But you have the paperwork side too. The good thing though is that you have place where can help you sort out the title. And just like you say, NLA is one of them.
But trust me, once you get past all that, it's a good feeling. And better yet, the best investment you can make.
Well, in the meantime, I'm going to invest my teeth in this snapper right now.
It takes planning to own a house, but the NHD and other agencies are there to help you on your journey. Call your NHD office or visit our website to find out more about the various ways you can home it with NHD and get the key to your home.
Suzuki, I give you deals on deals. So here's the deal. Purchase a Suzuki XL7 Jimny 5-door Bronx or Grand Vitara from as low as $4.89 million and enjoy huge savings of up to $500,000 off on select models. Plus 5 years warranty, free vehicle tracking and 2 years free scheduled servicing. No, that's a deal. Offer valid at Stewart's Automotive Group, Southgate Road, Kingston and Iron Trauma Bay. Stop by for a test drive. Follow Suzuki Jamaica for more details. Conditions apply. Suzuki, I give you deals on deals.
Every day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us to amazing places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. A simple step can change a life. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run, formerly the Keep It Alive 5K, and make us try to support the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Project Star. Saturday, May 10 in Kingston and Saturday, May 24 in Montego Bay. New name, but same epic vibe. Register today at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Shine 2025.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Gang violence must stop. It needs to stop. Be the change, not the chain. Let's end gang violence now. Let's all live good.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
The nationwide 90FM Schoolyard Tour 2025 is taking the vibes island-wide, straight to your schoolyard. Tune in to the E-Zone from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on May 2 as we broadcast from Dindhill Technical High School in Linstead. It's all about empowering minds and igniting the fun. Expect live entertainment, games, and big surprises as we bring the nationwide 90FM energy to every stop. And you know we have a stream it live on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. So tune in to the E-Zone May 2 from 1 to 4 p.m. It's the Schoolyard Tour at Dindhill Technical High School. Catch the live stream on Nationwide's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90FM Live 2. Keep your station locked to Nationwide 90FM for more details. All this and more only on Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. The Schoolyard Tour is brought to you by the Students' Loan Bureau, KFC, Tip Friendly Society, National Council on Drug Abuse, and ATL Automotive.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Minutes after 7, back with you, and we're turning our attention now to AI and how artificial intelligence is creating new pathways to wealth building for everyday Jamaicans. In a world where artificial intelligence is powering algorithms that shape economies, the National Commercial Bank, Jamaica Limited, NCB, and the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, UCC, they're inviting Jamaicans to reimagine the future of finance. PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC's Global Artificial Intelligence Study anticipates that AI could contribute up to 15.7 trillion, yes, trillion with a T, US dollars, to the global economy by 2030, with significant gains in sectors like finance due to increased productivity and personalization. This signals major opportunities for Jamaica to modernize banking, attract tech-driven investment, and accelerate financial innovation.
And recognizing this momentum, NCB and UCC are seeking to bring the conversation home. On Wednesday, April 30, NCB and UCC hosted the 5th annual Rickett Allen Memorial Lecture under the theme From Data to Dollars, the Role of AI in Revolutionizing Investment Strategies, featuring leading voices from NCB Capital Markets Limited and UCC. The hybrid event offered fresh perspectives on the intersection of technology and wealth building. The lecture series was established to honor the late Dr. Rickett Allen, a respected educator and senior general manager at NCB.
Dr. Allen was known for his visionary leadership in human resource development and his passion for empowering the next generation through education. To discuss how AI is transforming investment strategies and creating new pathways to wealth building for everyday Jamaicans, we're being joined by the Vice President of Strategy and Innovation at NCB Capital Markets Limited, Denario Brown. Good evening, Denario.
Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you
Thank
you so much for joining us. So, first of all, tell us about this NCB UCC Rickett Allen Memorial Lecture.
Yes, so the lecture was established in 2021 to honor the late Dr. Rickett Allen. So he was a respected educator and senior general manager at NCB. He was also a board chairman at the UCC. So Dr. Allen was known for his visionary leadership in human resource development and his passion for empowering the next generation through education. So NCB and UCC, we saw it fit to establish this partnership to empower the Jamaicans.
And the theme that you have for this year is from data to dollars. Talk to me about that theme. Why did you choose that? And what does it mean to those who are attending?
All right. So from data to dollars, right? It refers to the process of converting data insights into tangible financial value or revenue, right? It involves data analysis. That is the collecting, processing, and analyzing the data. Then it moves into insight generation, where you identify patterns and trends and correlations within the data to drive decisions. Right, that translates now into insight, actionable recommendations that drive business outcomes, and ultimately, can measure the financial impact just following the process. I call it the data to dollars process. Right, it shows the power of data, and ultimately how you can use data to drive financial value. It has applications across, business intelligence. You use analytics to drive strategic business decisions. You can also it's also used in marketing optimization, where we analyze customer data to optimize our marketing campaigns, right, and improve return on investments, and to decide on investment decisions and operational efficiency, where you are able to identify areas to improve costs and drive further revenue.
Denario Brown, why is it so important to understand the role of artificial intelligence in finance? Why is that important?
It's important because, as you mentioned earlier in the introduction, that AI is growing across the world, and according to the PwC study, 15.7 trillion. It's anticipated to contribute 15.7 trillion US to the global economy by 2030. 2030 is not far. It's less than 5 years away, right? And it's anticipated to bring significant gains, right? Now, the AI technology helps to educate Jamaicans, right, who may not be familiar. It can help to break down complex solutions, and provide advice, timely advice and recommendations to improve the well-being, right? And NCB and UCC were committed to the process, to building a better Jamaica. So yes, I believe it will be a major role, play a major role in finance in Jamaica and the entire world.
Yeah, and we understand that many individuals are now seeing the benefits of AI. But from NCB's standpoint, how is it that you are using AI to better serve your customers?
All right. So we have been using AI and the data improve the client experience. Client experience is very important to us. And given how large we are and the number of clients we have to find ways to deliver responses to clients and insights in their investment portfolios, answering queries. So NCB has been integrating AI in our business for some time. Just to give an example, on the banking side, we would have leverage data and the insights and AI to deliver over 56% of our one of our loan categories are issued digitally. Now 56% over the last 4 years, right? And we have recently launched our risk profiler tool on the investment side as we seek to accelerate wealth management in Jamaica. The risk profiler tool is simple. You can complete in less than 5 minutes. Well, last night in the lecture, someone completed in less than a minute, right? Your users can participate by messaging My Wealth. That's My Wealth, no space, just My Wealth. So 876-728-7075 on WhatsApp. You will send, so that's 876-728-7075 to WhatsApp. And when you message that, it takes you through a simple questionnaire, and your responses, it provides your risk tolerance, and then it gives you a recommended asset allocation, right? And that is just the start of the journey. We will use that insight to now make tailored recommendations to set you on a path to wealth creation if you have not started yet. And where you have started already, we will look at your portfolio with you to make recommendations to how you can improve your portfolio, to possibly rebalance, to set you on a path to earning more or growing your wealth more.
Mm-hmm. And how then can people? Well, you really spoke to the utilization of the risk profiler, which is right, very important. But looking just generally at the lecture, how does this bridge the gap between education, utilization of technology, and what is very important, business in Jamaica?
Right. So the NCB UCC lecture is all about creating that critical connection between education, technology, and business. Right, bringing the thought leaders together from financial sector and academia, we seek to help to spark conversations that show Jamaicans, especially the students and the young professionals, how emerging technologies like AI are shaping the future of work and investment. Right, it's not just about discussing the trends; it's about empowering the people with the knowledge they need to adapt, innovate, and thrive in a digital economy. So events like these help to build a stronger, more future-ready Jamaica by making cutting-edge insights accessible to the wider audience.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the audience response, having a discussion on AI and wealth building, how did they respond? Are there any moments that stood out in particular?
The audience was very engaged. They responded extremely well. Right, so both the presentation and panel discussion, the questions were flowing, right, and it actually seems like we would not end, right, and they left with an understanding of the power of data and how it can be used to derive insights to guide decisions in wealth creation, and they also left with an understanding of how AI works and the opportunities that exist to utilize the same to improve their lives. Mm-hmm. Right, not shine away from the technology, but understanding how it works and how to utilize it to create wealth. And of course, the UCC is committed to continuing the journey, providing different programs and courses to help Jamaicans get familiar with AI. Short courses just to familiarize yourself with it, or detailed courses if you intend to pursue that. Further education.
So in a sense, then...
Go ahead,
I'm sorry, finish the point.
Right, I was saying some of the research is saying that, internationally, investment professionals, because between, well, over 50% of investment professionals have indicated that they are pursuing studies in AI, and in the younger cohort, I think it went up to about 87%. 87%, yes. So it's a topical, very important. That is from the CSA Institute, actually, 2024 article.
Right. And based on, coming from the seminar and based on what you're seeing, do you foresee AI playing a role in shaping investment strategies in Jamaica, let's say over the next 5 to 10 years? And if so, what role do you see AI playing?
Well, certainly. I see AI being a strategic enabler to support investment professionals and our clients. All right. So while it's in its infancy stages, this time it will play several transformative roles in revolutionizing the investment process in Jamaica. We see opportunities in education and awareness, where AI-powered applications can provide educational resources for investors and enhancing their financial literacy, and also their engagement in the market. Robo-advisor platforms, these are AI-powered platforms that automate financial advice, accelerating the investment guidance. Most clients, they want to know what to buy, when to buy, how to buy, and how much to buy, right? And they want it in a timely manner, right? So AI will empower us to do so. It will also allow for personalized investment strategies, predictive analytics, looking at market trends, identifying opportunities ahead. You can look at the trends, look at leading indicators that drive different industries. AI will be able to pick it up quickly and provide guidance to the clients and the investment professionals to make recommendations so that decisions can be made as to, what emerging markets are, what markets are emerging and seeing have a positive outlook from the data. Research analysts, investment analysts, and clients, once they get that data now, the clients can have a conversation with their advisors, financial advisors, to execute. It will be a partnership at this time, in the early stages. AI with the human interaction, but over time, as confidence grows, you would see more response to automation and the AI, and thus relying on the AI's insights and so forth as the AI is trained by the professionals and institutions, start rolling out different solutions.
Mm-hmm. Final one from me, Denario Brown. If you had to sum up the future of finance in Jamaica in about a sentence, what would it be?
Future of finance is promising, and it is one where AI is an integral role to enhance the lives of Jamaicans. Yes, and I would say NCD is committed to the journey to building a better Jamaica and to leading the path and working with the clients to do this transformation.
Yeah.
All right.
Denario Brown is the Vice President of Strategy and Innovation at NCB Capital Markets Limited. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much, too.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. We are going to take a quick break, and then it's time for your calls, for you to have your say on all that's happening. Come chat with us. You know the numbers, 630-9371 to 4618-8255.
Taxi drivers, are you ready to earn more? Join Amber on Time and keep 100% of your fares in the first month. No commission, no catch. Plus, in your second month, we'll install a free vehicle tracker to help keep you and your car safe. Stolen vehicle recovery and panic button response are also on us. And guess what? On May 3rd and 4th, come to 13 Haining Road. Snacks and drinks are on us. Come link up, ask questions, sign up on the spot, and level up with Amber on Time, Jamaica's taxi app built just for you.
Every day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us to amazing places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. A simple step can change a life. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run, formerly the Keep It Alive 5K, and make us try to support the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Bustamante Hospital for Children, and Project STAR. Saturday, May 10 in Kingston and Saturday, May 24 in Montego Bay. New name, but same epic vibe. Register today at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Shine 2025.
The Nationwide 90 FM Schoolyard Tour 2025 is taking the vibes island-wide, straight to your schoolyard. Tune in to the E-Zone from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on May 2 as we broadcast from Dindhill Technical High School in Linstead. It's all about empowering minds and igniting the fun. Expect live entertainment, games, and big surprises as we bring the Nationwide 90 FM energy to every stop. And you know we must stream it live on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. So tune in to the E-Zone May 2 from 1 to 4 p.m. It's the Schoolyard Tour at Dindhill Technical High School. Catch the live stream on Nationwide's YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. Keep your station locked to Nationwide 90 FM for more details. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. The Schoolyard Tour is brought to you by the Students' Loan Bureau, KFC, Tip Friendly Society, National Council on Drug Abuse, and ATL Automotive.
Mr. Portmore, good evening. Mr. Portmore? No, not hearing him. 630-937-124, 618-8255. Omalo, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Sanjay.
Good evening, Omalo.
Yes, I listened to a conversation yesterday, a discussion between, I think, Mr. Bert Samuel.
Yes.
Speaking about Parliament taking away the power from the court to make decisions.
Yes.
To pass sentence. I wonder who give the court who wrote the law, or if it was Parliament that wrote the law that instruct judge as to how to sentence people that they are using now. Is it Parliament?
Yeah, the law, the legislature, in a sense, which is Parliament, they're the lawmakers, yes.
And they are the ones that wrote it. So if they feel best in the interest of creating a sociable society, and they have made a mistake before, and now they need to address it, it would be their responsibility to go ahead and do so.
But the point that Bert was making yesterday when we spoke to him is the separation of power. It's a fundamental principle in governance that really divides the authority, so to speak. And what he's saying is the legislative branch must be separate from the judiciary. When you limit the judges, in essence, to say that the minimum that they can do when they're sentencing someone is, let's say, 50 years, you're, in essence, tying the hands of the judges, and you need to give the judges, based on their experience, that freedom to determine how many number of years an individual should get in prison based on
separation
all the
of
circumstances
power
before them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but separation of power never means the legislators must leave their power up to the judges to decide what the voters demand of them.
But that's not what Mr. Samuels was saying. No, but that's not what Bert was saying yesterday. He's
saying separation of power is leaving the judges to make decisions based on how they may consider the case to be, what sentence they should give. But the people are saying we are expecting the judges to follow the recommendation of our Parliament because we vote them in to give that recommendation to all body throughout the society.
You know, Omalo, it's a fundamental issue that I've always had when I think about our arrangements. There's this idea, a well-settled idea, that sentencing should be the prerogative of judges. Of course, the Parliament sets, I suppose, the range, and the judges decide on, where in the range based on the peculiarities of the case or what the evidence was or the circumstances. I've always not been comfortable with that, I have to tell you. I like you, Omalo, believe that It is for the people's representatives to determine. In fact, I support mandatory minimum sentences. It is for the people's representatives to decide that once you are found guilty of a particular crime, the society should speak through the elected representatives about how they see that crime. So, for example, if in some of the instances we've seen in this country, the rape and murder of a child, it is for, I think, the legislator to say, yes, you should go to prison for a maximum term or a minimum term of X amount of time.
Yeah, and I will counter that.
Well, just a minute. Let me say one thing. You know, Ricardo, it is not so as to, you see, the separation of power, because I don't buy these foolishness, and I know understand separation of power.
I wouldn't say it's foolishness.
Just a minute.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's foolishness. I'll make the point. I wouldn't say it's foolishness.
Okay, but I understand separation of power, and where separation of power must be, not in certain era, with restricting politicians from carry out the people's desire. In America, where they have separation of power, politicians make mandatory sentences.
Yes, that is true.
So what are we talking about?
So my point is, before Sanjay rebutts me, my point is this, and then the accountability, yeah. When the society grows intolerant, as I think this society has grown intolerant, of crime and violence, and the society cries out for a certain response, it becomes, to my mind, very difficult to say that judges who do not ever have to face the electorate, who do not ever have to give any, in my estimation, meaningful account outside of perhaps a written judgment for their reasoning to the people, that they should have that final say. I have never been okay with that, and I've said before, for example, that I detest the way that the Privy Council, certainly they're seeming to become more conservative in recent time, but certainly before, the positions that they've taken on the death penalty, for example, and its application in this region, I have detested that. So I agree with Omalo. I understand the point entirely. The people's representatives who are accountable to them every 5 years or every 4 years have to have some measure to respond to the kinds of things that we're seeing in this society.
And I don't disagree, Ricardo, but the challenge that we have sometimes is that people sometimes act based on emotions, yeah? And they will pressure the politicians to make certain decisions. And what Bert is saying, look, these judges
are trained. But why do we think the judges are more rational? Why is that the assumption?
Yeah, but I mean, the argument is the judges are trained. That's one.
Okay.
The judges
Let
me finish. Let me finish.
Okay, all right.
The judges are going to look at all the circumstances before them, and based on their experiences and the circumstances that are before them, they will decide how many years this individual should get. Every case is unique.
And here's my response and my challenge with that, Sanjay. I hear that, and I've heard the argument. I think it.
And when you finish, let me say one thing before I go.
I think it borders on elitism, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I don't know that a judge has more widespread experience than a political representative. Judges, because of the nature of what they do, are sort of shut away. Yeah, from most of it. If you read some of the rulings that they issue, you see it. You see that they don't think about things in the same way. And some may say that's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. Because I think it necessarily sets them apart. So I agree with Omalo that it should be the purview of the people's representatives.
So let me say this before I go. If you take away the democratic voice of the people of Jamaica that reach out to their politicians to express what it is that they want to done, and put it in the hands of judges that the people can't reach to, then what are we talking about when we're talking about democracy?
And I think it also risks undermining faith and confidence in the political system and how people respond and see results. I think that's a very real fear. But I hear you, Omalo. Thanks for the call. I want to share something that I just stumbled across, and I think it's really, really good news. Deputy Superintendent of Police, Sanjay Mitchell, I think he's out in Westmoreland now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, producer says Westmoreland. He tweeted, another record-breaking murder reduction month. He says the month of April recorded 44 murders this year when compared to 84 in April of 2024. The previous record was in February of this year when we recorded 48 murders. So this murder tally for April, 44 murders, that is the lowest we've recorded in Jamaica in 25 years.
And that must be celebrated.
We don't know. We'd have a round of applause. Bugs, a round of applause button. You cannot press on it. Make a round. No, Bugs not pay me, man. All right. No, this is amazing. No. This is amazing. Let me read it again. April was a record-breaking month for murder reduction in Jamaica. The month saw 44 Jamaicans being murdered. Still high, but that's compared to 84 for the same month last year. 44 April 2025, 84 in April 2024. And that's a record. And the previous record was in February of this year when Jamaica recorded 48 monthly murders. And this 44 murders in a month is the lowest in 25 years.
And what it also shows, Ricardo, is that the investments that we have seen going into the police force, we're reaping those benefits, which is very important. Because I remember when former police commissioner Anderson, with all the technology that they were investing in the police force, people were looking and wondering, all this money being spent, will it be wasted? We're seeing the benefits of it. And much more work to be done, but we have to commend the police force. We have to commend the government also for giving the police the necessary resources that they need.
Yeah, true. Andrew, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Brooks. Good evening, Mr. Lewis.
Good evening, Andrew.
My reason for calling is because I wanted to talk to you, Mr. Brooks, because earlier this year in January, I called and I queried as to why the media in general, and I named media houses, were refusing to give Mr. Holness the title of doctor, which he earned.
Yes.
And I remember you telling me that Nationwide made a decision to use the title of Prime Minister instead of doctor.
Yes.
And then the last thing you said to me was that he, and the listeners obviously, was that he did not complete a doctorate, so he can't be called doctor.
No, I said a PhD. I said a PhD.
A PhD, yes. And that thing has been troubling me since the day you said it. Because
what was troubling?
I couldn't, but he completed a PhD.
No, he completed a Doctor of Law and Public Policy. That's what I was trying to explain. And I was...
hold on. So, I understand the difference between the two. Yes, he didn't complete a PhD, which is a Doctor of Philosophy.
Correct.
But he completed a Doctor of Law, so he was entitled to the title.
Yes,
that's what we're discussing.
Yeah, no, and I've never said he's not entitled to the title. I never said.
I can look for the data.
You should, please.
Look for the tape.
You should.
You said, and I think you made a mistake, probably a genuine mistake, because I couldn't imagine why somebody like you, who I see as one of the brightest young journalists in Jamaica, would say something like that.
I remember the conversation.
Yeah, I would ask you to pull the tape, because let me just respond, Sanjay, because let me tell you why I would ask you to. I was one of the first persons here that started to write Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. I was one of the first persons in the newsroom who started to write that. And there was some amount of fluidity, because some reporters would write it, some wouldn't write it, and then, as I said to you, a decision was taken to just go with Prime Minister Andrew Holness. That has since been rescinded, and so as you perhaps realize now, we say Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. So I am very certain that I could not have said he was not entitled.
I remember the conversation. Actually, no, what Ricardo was correcting you about was the Doctor of Law and Policy. That was the correction that was made.
I didn't need any correction on that, because I knew what he did, and I know that he is to be given the title of doctor, whether it's Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Law, Doctor of Letters, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I needed no correction on any of those.
But what I'd love for you to do, I'd love for you to find the tape, and so if I did say that, I would be very happy to correct it. But I'm very certain. So I'm going to ask you to give your contact to the producer. And if you can find the tape of me saying that, I will withdraw it. The Prime Minister
I'll give the
absolutely,
contact, but,
yeah, man. The Prime Minister absolutely deserves to be styled doctor. I was only saying to you that he was not a doctor of philosophy.
Right.
Right.
It was a DLP, actually.
Right, correct.
That was the correction that Ricardo had said. It's not a PhD, but a DLP.
Anyway, let me leave it, because I knew what I was saying. I knew what I said. The reason why I brought it up in the first place in January was the fact that I made the point that when Nadine Spence earned her doctorate, she got the title immediately.
Which
when
was a
Floyd,
PhD,
Morris earned it,
right?
She got it immediately.
A PhD,
So I'm saying,
right?
So I was making the point that why is it now that Andrew Holness has earned a doctorate? Why is he not being called doctor?
Right.
I didn't make reference to a PhD.
Okay, so yeah, as I say, if you can find the tape, I'll withdraw it. But as I say, I was one of the first persons to write Dr. Andrew Holness. In fact, I wrote the initial story, and I even got it wrong initially because I thought it was a PhD. So I rather doubt I said that. I was the person who wrote the story here at Nationwide when news came, that he was to be styled doctor. And after we put out the story, I think we were the first to report it. The protocol unit of the Office of the Prime Minister clarified that it was a doctor of law and public policy. So no, I have no difficulty. Yeah, I have no difficulty styling the Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. None at all.
All right.
Yes, man. Thanks for the call.
Yep.
I vividly remember that conversation.
Yeah, I do too. I was only correcting the PhD thing because as I said, we had incorrectly reported that it was a PhD. And I still see
that's where the correction was made.
Right. Yeah. And I still see others reporting. I think up to today I saw some media house report that's a PhD. That's all I was correcting. Who's next, Books? Bookman, good evening.
Good evening, Bookman.
Ricardo.
Mm-hmm.
Sanjay.
Yeah, how you do?
Evening, my boss.
Evening.
Yeah, me have a burning issue, yeah?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm living in Kingston. No, but I'm from St. Thomas, right? Roland Field to be exact. From in the 80s, we have a road up there, you see? Colonel Charles, them work on it. Them used to use Brookstone at the time and fix that road. We have one of the best road in St. Thomas, brother. Solid road. And because of lack of maintenance, brother, I think Fenton Fergus do about 20-something years, 27 years up there, and the man never no maintenance to the road, brother. And Mr. Charles that come now and win the seat, and
Michelle
no
Charles.
maintenance. Yeah, no maintenance till now. Roland Field now. When they touch Hardly Cross and go, could have one of the best road in the St. Thomas.
Yes.
Right? Surface well strong, you know.
Yeah.
And it's because of lack of maintenance.
Mash up.
All of the silt will wash on the road. It block all of the drain and something. You say, may I drive my car and go up there? And I say, one little vehicle I come and look, I come down in the brother. And me say, me have to bank the car and I wait till it's something pass, you know. And the road, a wide road in the brother.
Yeah.
The bus come in, you can't believe the things I want fire to live in the brother. You understand?
Yeah.
So, me ask Mr. Morgan them brother, them to go look on that thing that just rectify like no, and the whole of the road I wash off, you know.
Repeat it, where you say it is?
Roland Field in St. Thomas.
Roland's Field. What division is that?
When you left Hardly Crossing and go up Eastern St. Thomas, that man.
Okay, Hardly Crossing, that's
you understand?
I think that, yeah, okay.
Look here, my brother. Tell the man and say, when Mr. Wallace them announce this Lentman program, because when you are youth at that school, you have some man like Mr. Matthew Taylor, Mr. Bradley, and Mr. Zaya, well part of man. Then you see them man, they have a section of the road, some chains of the road where them clean the gutter and the curve and channel, and then you could drain them. And so we used to walk under the car, but them as a little boy, run player than speak. You can't give them something no more.
But Bookman, I see someone just sent me a reel on TikTok where Dr. Charles show photos of rehabilitation work which was done to that very road last year.
No, not Roland Field.
Yeah, man. She says, and let me read the residents of. No, man, no, hold on, no. I'm not doubting it. I'm just telling you what is published. She says in that reel.
Yeah, hold on, man. We're going to see her and you can respond. We're going to let you respond.
The residents of Roland's Field have been asking for road rehabilitation for so long, and she says, I am happy to have been able to advocate for them. And she says, look at the results, and you're seeing some road work happening.
Look
so is it that nothing happened last year?
Look here, man. Them patch one little part of road, you know. Like in that entire like the building where you're in there now. One bad spot of where water second pan, brother. No, the road, entire road surface if you go up the brother.
Well, so hold on. Let me just get that, Bowman. So you're saying the patch, but it's a small part that was patched.
One little part on the road.
Okay.
One little part. Like how the building where you're in at the radio station. Nothing tall like that. You understand? And I tell you, say, brother, the maintenance of my ball for all along, you know, brother. It badly needed, you know, the Lentman program. The man announced the thing, and I know the man must start it now.
All right. So Bookman, getting a response. I tell you, you know, I've said it before that the minister is very responsive. The minister is advising that it's not an NWA road. It's actually a parish council road.
Look here.
No, hold on, Bookman, hold on.
Parish council road, brother. Look here.
Bookman, may I try help you? No, hold on, may I try help you, no? Bookman, may I try help? Alright, you're not listening to me.
Yeah, just don't contradict me, man.
Yeah.
A PWD used to work on that road, Public Works Department, where them bring to NWA now, nonsense. And you know, have no in-house people are maintaining the road. You have the parish council road like a donut scheme, brother. I'm not talking about that.
Bookman, but hold on now, Bookman. The minister sent
us
a message. Let's hear what he has to say.
That's what you came in. You came and you say you want help, and they have responded. No lesser than the minister has responded.
So let's hear it. But Bookman, hold on now. That's how we're going to reach the solution.
We can't help you if you're not listening, Bookman. Yeah, we can't help you if you're not listening. All right. So I'm being advised that it's an NWA road, right? And that it falls under the purview of the parish council. Cool?
Don't business
no, but you have a
hold
business.
on, no, just listen, man.
You have a business, Bookman. You have a business. Because if the solution is to get it fixed, then now we know where we can. Yeah, all right. Go ahead.
I was at a local shop.
All right, go on.
Last week, Friday night, here, up in the district. I mean, one of you take on 4 man. The man them don't tell me about the road, you know, brother. I mean, I know council, I know nothing, you know, the man go on some way, you know.
Yes. I understand that. I mean,
as you said, look here.
Yes.
I'm not a PNP or a JLP, really. You know.
You just want the road fixed.
You understand? Look for the JLP.
Yes.
You understand? I'm going to tell you, say, the road want to fix like no. Yeah. And if you fix it, it has to maintain. The maintenance, poor. Poor.
Right. Okay.
And look here, one last thing. You see the man work on the main road down Hardley Crossing to Portland, go back Kingston. You see the Chinese man, they say when the rain come on the road dig up. Why the man don't just use the tractor and scrape the road and level it somewhere like a mile, man? Why people are driving that way, driving at them, the hill and gully. It's difficult, you know, brother. It's struggling, you know. That man is going better, man.
I think though, Bookman, what is important, and we know you just want the road to fix. You don't care if it's parish council road or NWA road. But what is important? No, hold on, just hold on. But what is important is to know, because that is how you're going to make the representation. Yeah. Because you came here to say the MP, but if it's a parish council road, it's a councillor you have to go to.
Look here.
You see the point?
Look here, me now go to no council.
All right. Hear what, Bookman. Hear what. We'll pass on the information, Bookman. We'll pass on the information. We'll pass on the information to Dr. Charles, and she'll pass it on to the parish council. I appreciate the call. Want to take somebody else. Thanks for the call, Bookman. Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Sanjay.
Hey, Carl. Evening.
Yeah, Sanjay, I want to ask you a question tonight.
Yeah, no.
Glad I'm
yes. You remember in a 18 years spent still there. When you call a police station in Jamaica, you say they don't have no vehicle.
Yes.
And you call them, you say they don't have no gas. You remember that time there?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Me not really. I mean, I'll tell you something, I'm not bright, man. Can you tell me which government in office now?
It's the Jamaica Labour Party in office.
Oh, okay. Well, today I got a work to the AC Hotel. And I make a little run down to Deanery Road. And when the Ruby's gas station and I left Excelsior School and turn right there, so.
Yes.
I saw 4 brand new, them 15-seater bus was there taking petrol. And I have to go and say to one of the policemen, that if you remember one time where they never have one vehicle and the policeman laugh and say no one get in their politics with me.
Yes. But there's no doubt about it though.
You know why
I said it earlier.
You know why me ask you the question, Sanjay?
Yes.
Is that when you look around Jamaica today? Oh, Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
Me pass up a bull beer this Saturday.
So the road nice?
If you have your one plaza up on like a hill, the
road nice.
Maybe should talk about
it. Where roads go, development follow, Carl.
Yes.
So the person tell me say you have your little plaza.
You know what I would it. You know what I would it. But I build no plaza. But no, but in serious, no, you're right though. Along the stretch, since the road has finished, you see a lot of them popping up, especially out by Albion, further up. Yes, that is true.
And Sanjay.
Yes.
I mean, I invite you. It's mountain. Do like me sometime. You can't just sit down and put up your money, so. If it take a drive out, man. It's when you reach out at the old Goodyear factory, the old lockdown Goodyear factory and a PMP, you need to go there.
No, actually, can I say something about that? That the urban center out there in Morant Bay. Look at now, Sanjay.
Yeah, it's gonna be
the court that is being built there rivals the Supreme Court downtown.
So Ricardo,
the municipal building rivals the Parliament of Jamaica.
Ricardo,
it boasts a bad. No, it's true. Carl is talking the truth here. You know, so it boasts a bad. I was surprised at it because I was saying,
Ricardo, I stop out there Saturday.
Because I was saying the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation is not very big. It's a very impressive building.
No, man, you see, before some of these people who are jump up about PMP now, some of them need to take a drive around Jamaica like me and look what is happening. And if next thing, you just look, Ricardo and Sanjay, when you know I talk now, if it talks, this is the tax of the country doing all of these things.
Yeah, I agree with Carl. It's an impressive complex, and I was surprised, Sanjay, at how far, because I remember the last time I passed here, because that it was under construction. I think, by my estimation, I'm no contractor, but it looked like it near finished now, and it's really, really impressive.
Yeah. Just tell Sanjay if you take a drive, man.
Yeah, I don't care about there.
You know, Carl, one of the things, and I said it yesterday, I don't know if you heard when I said it, it's going to be an uphill task for the PNP to really campaign in the next general election because in December they were campaigning on the bad roads. That has now been addressed.
I'll be a carpet around now.
The biggest thing now of crime, you heard Ricardo even spoke earlier about the murder stats. It's going to be difficult.
That done with now. That done with. And in Jamaica for justice, I think couldn't help them choose it. That is out of date.
No, you're not bad. All right. So that is where we got edit local. Good night. Goodbye. No, but no. The complex out there in Morant Bay is very impressive. And if that is the blueprint for the other ones to come, because I think one is going to Port Antonio, if I'm not mistaken. If that is the blueprint, yeah, man, it should be celebrated. I tell you, the courthouse,
and the road work also, Ricardo. The road work has opened up that side of the
courthouse. The courthouse look like one foreign court, the courthouse said justice. I'm so serious. The columns. Anyway, let me stop.
Yeah.
So the minister has told me, Bookman, because he never dare listen to me, that he will consult with the MP and they will have a look at the road. All right. So I was just trying to give you the information, Bookman. So that's the update on the road.
What is important on that, Ricardo, when the minister spoke with us the last time, that single authority is so important to monitor these roads, one, and also to look on rehabilitation when it is needed. Because I find that we do such a hopscotch work now where a road needs to be rehabilitated, but we're not sure at what point this one needs to be rehabilitated until it gets really bad.
Yeah.
So it is important. The structures have to be put in place so we can ensure that we're monitoring all the roads, and the problems like what Bookman brought to the fore, we don't have that anymore, but it takes time.
It does. The YouTubers are reminding me it's Boundbrook in Portland. Yes, that's thank you, Mona. Thank you, Anthony. That's where the next one is slated to go. And if the one that we see in Morant Bay is the blueprint, yeah, I think every parish should have one.
It put the parliament to shame?
No, it does. No, I kid you not. And I was saying to myself, wait, how many councillors St. Thomas have? About 8, 9 at most. That's all. Yeah, 4. There are 2 constituencies. Yeah. I think it's 9. 4 divisions in East, and I think West has 5, if I'm not mistaken. So I said, then at a big building of them I get for 9 councillors. It's impressive. I don't know. KSMC need a it's nice. 9. Mark says yes. 9. Mark corrects me. Yes, it's an impressive building. The people of St. Thomas have been spoiled. And let me tell you, listeners, if you have not been to the eastern side of the island in a while because you had challenge with the road network and that kind of a thing, you should take a drive. It's easy driving now. It's easy driving. And Dana is telling me now, we must come go home now because the road good.
The road nice.
I can drive on the road.
That's fantastic.
Go. All right, Miss Davy. That's all the time we have. Thank you to our producer, Dana Davy. Andrew Glenn Anderson is the man behind the control. He's the pilot. Thank you so much, Andrew. My colleagues in the newsroom, they are the best in the business, led by our editor, Cara Powell. All right, Okay, so former PNP General Secretary Colin Campbell-Carl, he says the PNP has a lot to campaign on.
Oh?
Yeah? And he's telling me in the earlier discussion, I don't understand the concept of co-equal branches of the state. No, Colin Campbell, I absolutely understand co-equal branches. I'm simply saying I do not think the way that the power is currently, distributed is appropriate. Thank you all so much, sponsors, contributors, and you, our valued listeners. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi there. Here's some